So I happen to have a thought this week.
Let's hear it.
You know how every time that you turn on like a porch light or something like that, it's late at night, immediately moths just go fucking crazy. They're all over that thing, right?
There was a meme.
Oh yeah, that was a thing. That's right. Did you ever stop to think that maybe what's going on there is that they see those butterflies that everybody seems to like so much, and they're like, they like them because they've got such beautiful colors and stuff. Maybe if I just got a tan, maybe people would like me too. Oh, they're trying to use that as like a little moth tanning bed.
Moth.
Do you think that could be happening?
That's probably what it is.
Maybe then they'll like me.
Maybe then. Oh,
I'm so dull and brown. Maybe if I just get myself a tan on this nice hot light bulb, they'll start liking me better.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Welcome, dead and lovely listeners, to the greatest horror movie podcast in this galaxy and beyond. Why, it's Dead and Lovely, here with the hosts with the most. All are welcome. All are welcome. Here to join this podcast with me, your good buddy, Uncle Ben.
This huss is clean. It's me, Hollywood Steve.
I'll tell you what, right now, Steve, this huss is not clean. We are like dead in the middle,
right in the center of moving,
getting ready to move. Yeah, basically every room looks like Carol Ann's room, where it's just like stuff spinning around,
just in one corner, and
it pretty much looks like that right now. It is sheer pandemonium. If I gave you the list of like everything that we've done to the house this week to get stuff ready, it would just make your fucking head spin. I mean, I
do not envy you.
It sucks, dude.
That.
And like, I've moved before out of rentals to rentals, or whatever, you know. But this is the first time that we're like selling a house and buying a house, and it's like, if you can imagine how, you know, whenever you're moving out of a rental, and you're like, we got to get this place spick and span so we can get that security deposit back.
Got to clean that oven, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Imagine how hard you work when you're like, I got to get this place spick and span to see if somebody can buy it for more money than I paid for it. Imagine how hard you work to get that done.
That sounds fun.
Holy fucking God. I am exhausted.
Isn't that the dumbest overall industry?
What's that?
Like the idea that you purchase a house and the next person should pay more money for it.
Well, they're making
that infinitely climb.
They're making more people, but they ain't making more land.
Well, we actually don't have a housing shortage. We have enough houses for every single homeless person to live in a house. Those houses are just empty.
Yeah, but they ain't got no jobs.
They're owned by rich people, and a lot of them are foreign rich people. Meaning that the homeless in our country,
the actual Americans,
looking at a house owned by someone who doesn't live in the country, and they can't even go into it.
Ain't that America?
Ain't that America?
Yeah. Dude, I am just beat down. I mean, as somebody that makes their living sitting down or at the most standing up playing guitar, I am just not accustomed to this amount of physical labor.
Yeah, I bet you got those forearms of steel. But,
I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear my veins popping.
It's really gross.
You can hear it right now. Those are the veins popping free.
It was insane.
Yeah, been going through a lot of booze this week.
Got to deal with it,
Well, because liquor boxes are the best thing to pack your shit in because they're so small and sturdy.
They don't come empty.
They don't come empty. That's the problem. You get them and it's got all this liquor in a box.
What are you going to do with it?
If you want to make the most of space, you got to drink the liquor out of the box.
That's right.
So I've been working a lot on that. Oh my God, dude. And somewhere in the middle of this week, I found myself on stage playing guitar with Dweezil Zappa.
I saw that.
What in seven hells?
You didn't expect that?
No.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was pretty much amazing. Honestly, a real, jewel of my career of playing music. Really fucking cool. And, I'm a huge Frank Zappa fan.
Yeah.
And Dweezil is the guy that got me into Frank Zappa because of his Zappa Plays Zappa tour, where he keeps his dad's music alive. That's what got me obsessed with Frank Zappa in the first place. So, pretty amazing stuff to be on stage with such a cool cat and
that's really
phenomenal player. Very cool stuff.
I'll tell you this. If somebody plays guitar good or bad, I probably can't tell.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I just assume, if people are like, Eric Clapton's good, I'm like, okay. And then if somebody else is like, he's not really that good, I'm like, okay.
Either way, you're on board.
Yeah. All I hear is tones.
Notes.
None of it. If somebody screws up, I've seen it just at shows in high school. when like a friend would mess up on stage and they're kind of like disappointed.
Like, oh,
and I'm
damn.
Like, I didn't notice. Did you mess up? Okay.
Dude, that's the thing is like most of the time if you're on stage and you fuck up, most people don't know unless you draw attention to it. Mm-hmm. I've had so many shows where I just fuck stuff up, but just don't care and just, kick my legs in the air and throw my arms all around and wave around, and people are like, he's nailing it. Wow. He's not even playing guitar right now because his arms are in the air.
Your arms are in the air and they're thinking he's nailing it.
It's the best guitar player I've ever heard. He doesn't even play it.
Doesn't even play it.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Awesome.
He just commands it. He kicks his legs through the air.
And it plays
and he holds his hands up. Yeah. My brains are mush, Steve.
I bet.
I am just fried.
Yeah.
How's your week been, man?
Never had to sell a house. I agree with you. It's probably the worst.
But I'll tell you what. One more just closing thought about this whole relocation thing. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to undergo a little bit of, let's say, what we call rebranding. We've talked about the importance of rebranding on the show. And I know you've been hitting the gym and stuff a lot yourself
here.
I've
been rebranding myself.
I have been engaging in this new exercise program that I call relocational calisthenics.
Oh.
Yeah. Everything that you need in your house is your gym. Your house is your gym, Steve.
Basically, if you want to get into shape, get a job working for a moving company.
I was thinking about that, and it's like most of the guys you see working for moving companies are like big fat slob guys. Right now, there's some guy
also very strong.
Yeah, they're very strong. I was gonna say too. Right now, there's like one of our listeners that's like listening to this on his headphones as he's like doing a moving job. He's like, hey, hey.
He's a thick king. Okay,
he is.
Get off his back.
He is. He's doing work for himself.
So what have I been doing? What have I been doing? I watched some football.
Watch some football.
Yeah,
I
got another bit of Saturday. I didn't have as much time to watch, but I got to see some cool games.
Yeah.
I haven't had a lot of downtime. If anybody noticed a difference in the quality of last episode, that's because I've started editing the podcast.
If it was great, you'll take all the credit. If it wasn't great,
I'll take all the blame.
Yeah, dude, I've reached the point in my life where I'm just like, I just can't.
Yeah, and it's only like a few extra hours for me, which was like fine. But what I found out was I've never listened to a podcast and just listened to the podcast. And that's what you're doing when you're editing a podcast. Mm-hmm. You can't be doing other things.
Yep.
So I kept finding myself just listening to the podcast and like doing stuff on my desk or like reading on my phone and then be like, fuck, no, I need to be listening for mouth noises and too many ums.
Exactly.
And
dude,
that's every time Ben says the N word.
Exactly. Always got to clip them out all the times.
It's half the words.
Dude, that was always my thing whenever I've been editing the show for the past few years is I'll be like, maybe I can multitask and play some guitar. No, you can't.
You can't. It's the worst. So you have to dedicate the whole... I'd say it takes maybe about an hour more than the length of the episode.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, usually.
It's not too bad.
Right. Yeah. There's something about it that is kind of like chill and calming.
Yeah, it's really zen. Yeah, I found myself, especially like when I would find like little... Like I find little tick noises or something, just going real deep in and cutting that little slice out and then hearing it and it not being there. And it's just like,
now it's better.
That's what I wanted. Yeah.
I think what I'm going to start doing though, just to make your job of editing a lot easier, I'm going to start eating popcorn during the show.
That should help. Yeah, that should help.
Yeah, but I think you should know I have to do it with my mouth open as I chew.
I'll just get a soup in a bread bowl. And just slowly slurp it, and then when I'm done, just chaw down on the bread bowl. So Poltergeist.
Where you're chewing on celery.
That would be terrible.
Actually, what I'll do is I'll eat all the stuff on the show that they ate in the movie.
Oh, okay.
So on this, I'd be like eating a bunch of celery because Dana chomps a bunch of celery in this movie. What else?
There's some cereal,
some steak and wings.
Steak and wings, yeah. There's some Pizza Hut mentioned, but never appears.
Maybe that's going to be like our new YouTube channel. It's like we eat everything they ate in that movie.
Yes. Then everybody's requesting Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Like, oh no, Raw.
Yeah, just human. Yummo.
I was thinking about the movie Raw.
Yeah, I know. Just delicious.
Exactly.
Take a bite out of somebody.
Eat your sister, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't have a sister, so I can't. You know.
All right, let's share. You can eat half of my sister.
Yeah, editing the show to me is just a good chill time, and I'll miss it at times for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I started that and working on some other projects and working on this.
little bit of this, a little bit of that.
A little bit of that. It was a little bit rushed, but not too bad.
Excelente, man.
Yeah,
you been watching anything?
Yeah, I have. In fact, I had a little downtime. I had just finished The Good Place, and I was like, I don't really pay attention to Netflix much. What they got on here that I might like?
Who's on Netflix?
That's what I said. Who's on Netflix?
Who's on here?
And I found a movie called We Have Always Lived in the Castle.
Never heard of it.
Well. Now, it's based off of a book by, I think, Shirley Jackson.
One of them Libros.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe it's Shirley Jackson.
She also did House on Haunted Hill, or Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
Haunting Hill.
I believe it's Shirley Jackson. I'm not positive on that. But it stars Taissa Farmiga, who was in The Final Girls, Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier himself.
Oh, that guy. Cool.
Alexander Daddario, and Crispin Glover.
Oh, it's got the Crisp in there, huh?
Yes.
Okay, I'm interested.
And it's really pretty focused on those four in this house. So it's a lot of them, and they're great. Just a real great cast.
I love Crispin Glover, man.
It's a slow burn.
Is it horror?
Yes, but no. I would say it's got indication. It's Southern Gothic. It's got indications of like past horrors and terrors, and then there's like fear and stuff to it. But
is it more suspenseful than anything?
More of a thriller, maybe. Yeah, but it's definitely it's worth a watch. I think it's not slow, even though it's a slow burn. It's not a slow movie, and it'll maybe remind you a little of Stephen King near the end with some of the dialogue, and that kind of comes from Stephen King's love of Shirley Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, makes sense. Consider the source.
So I enjoyed that for sure. And I also watched Between Two Ferns, the movie, which just came out on Netflix.
That's a Zach Galifianakis, isn't it?
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis, Lauren Lapkus is in it, Ryan Gall.
Okay, awesome.
And it's directed by Scott Aukerman.
Oh, damn. It's a dream team of comedy.
And then they have Keanu Reeves, Matthew McConaughey.
Canoe?
Yeah. Who else? Brie Larson does an interview. There's a lot of like big name interviews.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So wait, is it just like a bunch of interviews and they call it a movie, or is there a story?
They put a story to it, but it still has like the interviews. So like there will be like some behind the scenes bit to the interview or whatever, but it is a lot like a Between Two Ferns interview. It's just shorter and a part of a larger narrative.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really funny. It was I enjoyed the movie.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Did you guys get together for that stream the other night?
Yes, we did. Oh, man.
If you're a new listener, we do a live... Well, I say we. It's mainly Steve.
But, the group, the
Steve
D&L
and the
family,
group.
it's a lot of the same people and new people all the time, it seems.
All are welcome. All are welcome.
That's for sure.
And that's over on our Discord server.
Yeah, we do the stream usually through Watch Together, which allows you to stream stuff from YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Basically, so that you're all synchronized.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What you guys watch this
We'll
time?
chat on Discord. We watched Cellar Dweller, which was chosen by birthday boy John Latour.
Oh, happy birthday, John Latour. He's a good boy.
I didn't think it was totally terrible.
Okay.
Like in comparison to, say, like Suburban Sasquatch, it was watchable. And it had the dude from Reanimator.
Okay.
He was the main guy. It had some other stuff that was pretty cool, but it still was pretty shit.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, not that great.
And then we watched Mon's Turd, which I don't even need to tell you Mon's Turd is bad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Yeah, I watched that forever ago. We used to do these things when we were in college of just getting together with all of our friends and watching like
the worst,
the shittiest. Yeah, whatever looked like the worst thing they had, like at Blockbuster was, is what we'd rent. And we'd also rent like really cheap, shitty porn and stuff like that, and watch it as a group. It was so fun, man. It was like a really great time. And I think one time we watched Mon's Turd. And as you could predict, is very terrible.
I thought it was pretty obvious that they were going for Monster, but when I said to my wife Mon's Turd, she heard like Mons, like Mons pubis. turd. So like a turd coming out of the Mons pubis.
Now that would be terrifying.
Yes.
I hadn't considered it that way. Okay.
So I assume that.
So she was a little let down.
Yeah, she was not excited for that idea.
But a good time was had by all.
Yeah, it was great. We had fun. I don't remember Mons turd well.
Yeah, you was in your cups, wouldn't you?
I was in my cups. My tolerance is low. I have now I have lost 40 pounds now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn,
So
dude.
I'm becoming a skinny mini and
Cheap date, cheap drunk,
yeah,
huh?
and I also, because I'm not drinking beer.
Yeah.
Drinking's just not as fun. Like, to just drink vodka soda, who's that fun for? It
Right.
doesn't really taste great. It's just water. Whatever.
It'll get you drunk.
It will, but so I've been drinking less and I weigh less, so a couple drinks and I was like, holy shit.
Well, I don't know about you too, but I always found, like, during my brief stints where I've tried to do like a super low carb, like less than 20 carbs a day and stuff like that for a couple of weeks, like, I get drunk way faster.
Yeah.
There's something about like not having carbohydrates in me or something. I don't know what the deal is.
Well, because your body is looking for the easiest source to burn, and if there aren't other carbs in your system, then alcohol, it seems like, is going to be the first thing it burns.
And then it starts eating into your spirit energy.
Yeah, and then it starts pulling from your spirit energy, and then after a while, a little bit of fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, is that people that live on that Atkins diet and stuff, real weak ghosts.
Wow.
Really, really weak.
The weakest type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They would not do a good haunting at all.
That Atkins guy that died of like a heart attack, on his doorstep, do you think his house is haunted? Fuck no.
His doorstep might be. That's as far as he can go.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's...
Ooh, a haunted doorstep. Ooh.
I'll just walk right in the house.
I'll spook these Girl Scouts, I guess. Ooh.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Get away from me with your carbohydrates.
Well, meanwhile, I'm going to be a strong ghost because I got all these carbohydrates I've been eating my whole life.
It's true.
Uh-huh. Dario Argento, he's going to have a massively powerful
Dario
ghost.
Argento is going to be more powerful in death than he ever was in life.
I am Spaghetti Ghost. Time to make it a pizza from beyond.
From beyond. Oh, man. I
Carbs
can't wait
make
for
strong
Dario
ghosts.
Argento's first posthumous movie that he makes.
And it's going to be a posthumous movie. I wish that there was like this new ad campaign going on for like carbs make strong ghosts, brought to you by the National Pasta Association.
Yeah.
Just remember, kids, if you don't eat your spaghetti, you can't come back as a spirit.
Whoa. Mom, SpaghettiOs, please.
I'll drink to that, Steve. What do you want to drink
Awesome.
on first, dude? We got 2 selections for the day.
Well, what do we got here? We got a sour, and this is an IPA. Well, let's go with the IPA first.
Let's start with that big boy
sour
right
will
there.
Blast the old tongue off.
So this is one that Kate brought home from the Merchants of Beer in Knoxville. It's from the Avery Brewing Company from Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, I don't know if we've had any.
It is their double-digit hazy IPA, Imperial, Juicy, and Hazy India Pale Ale. I had 2 of these so far, and it's fucking amazing.
I'm excited
I
for
think that
this.
you're going to like this
And
very
it
much.
is 10%.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the biggest like shocker of this entire thing is that when you try this, you're not going to believe that it's 10%. It is so fucking delicious and nice. And you know that I like things that are nice.
Yeah, I know that to be true.
I like nice things, which is why I like this. Also, I like Fritos.
I know what I like.
I like Fritos. Reba. I'm Reba. Now
Oh, man, that smells great.
Yeah, and it is an impenetrable cloud of juicy goodness.
Very juicy.
Yeah, it is definitely not see-throughable. What do you think about that? Isn't that fucking awesome?
Yes.
Right?
What
it's
is
like
that?
ridiculously good. I know.
Oh, my God.
It's like hazy, funky, juicy, hoppy.
I want this.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want like a tap on my faucet that's devoted to just this. What you find in there?
Got some oats in there. I was tasting something that was just way different than I've ever tasted in an IPA.
Hence that creamy mouthfeel. Because it does have a nice, soft, fluffy kind of taste to it, you know?
It does. That's
Can you
real
believe
good.
that's 10%?
No, I cannot.
Like, that's damn near wine strong.
Yeah.
That's nuts to me.
That's Moscato strong.
Yeah. But this is also like
shirt that says
Moscato strong. So kind of
strong. Like, do you want that lifted? No, I can't do that. Like half of that.
Let's try less. Moscato strong. But the thing about it is it's like not all that sweet.
Yeah, it's not. You know? It's got a good it's got a good resin to it, a good fruitiness to it. Like, not very sweet.
I'm a big old fan of that right there. I loves it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, while I have been packing and stuff like that, we have managed to put on a few different things on the television.
Oh, yeah?
And watch them as we frantically pack boxes and fix stuff and all that jazz. And, one of the big things that I'm struggling with this whole move situation is that I'm not able to decorate the house for Halloween. We usually just decorate top to bottom and stuff. Not doing that because obviously the house is going to be on the market.
Yeah.
So we decided the other night, it's like, well, let's put on some like great like TV Halloween specials.
Okay.
Just to kind of get in the spirit. I know it's like September right now, but to me, Halloween is a 2-month long event. It's September and October.
Yeah.
And
the first week in November might as well be.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, the stuff's still
got the
going to be
Halloween hangover. I'm not taking all those things down for the first week.
No, absolutely not. So we watched through a couple of the completely fantastic, amazing Halloween episodes of Community.
Yeah.
Which are great. So goddamn good, man. We only did 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
I didn't want to get into the ones that like are from seasons I haven't watched all of yet.
Yeah. Season 4, I don't really care for. It's the first episode of the season. I don't care for that season in general.
It's the one that Harmon didn't do, right?
Yeah, and it's just off. It falls into so many sitcom tropes that I hate.
Got it.
The reason why I liked Community was because it avoided those things. It used tropes, of course. Dan Harmon's huge on tropes, but it always had like some commentary sort of on those tropes. Whereas in season 4, it just seemed to be like, these are the tropes.
Let's just do the thing.
Yeah.
Man, that first one where you've got Abed as Batman is just a fucking treasure. Oh my God. Just every time he goes, yeah. I've been saying it all week. Like every time Kate asks me a question, I'm like, yeah. It's so fucking good, man. The second one's a zombie one with the outbreak, which is fantastic. And the third one is where like Britta thinks one of them's a psycho killer.
Right. That one's my favorite.
Holy cow. They sit around and tell the scary stories and stuff.
Yeah. I don't think they did another one after season 4. I don't believe there is one in season 5 or 6.
Oh, bummer.
Might be wrong on season 5. But anyway, I just watched season 6. I know they don't have one in there.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also recently, because I'll just fall back on Community a lot because I know it backwards and forwards. I've seen it so many times. Like if I don't want to find something new, if I just want something on in the background, Community, 30 Rock, something like that.
Totally. Yeah. And Community right now is on Hulu. They got all the seasons on there. So if you guys have never watched it, again, I've only watched the first 3 seasons that Dan Harmon did.
Yeah.
But I can tell you they are 3 of the funniest seasons of any TV show I've ever watched.
And if you start season 4, I say skip it. But if you start season 4 and you get real tired of it, again, skip it. Just go straight to season 5. It's real good again.
Does it just kind of ignore everything that happened in 4 too?
They refer to it as the is it like the gas year? The gas leak year.
Really?
There's a gas leak the whole year. That's why they were all acting that way.
I love that. That's such a great way to like explain that stuff. Dan Harmon is a fucking genius. Dude.
He is. He is.
Fucking genius.
And he's man. I just started season 3 of Harmon Quest. I mean, he's just involved in that as a character. That's all Spencer Crittenden. He does it all. But Harmon Quest is great. It's a bunch of celebrities playing a D&D game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
like
they animate it.
In real life?
In real life, they're sitting in front of an audience playing a D&D game. It's a simplified version to make it more entertaining, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
But then they animate
what
they do. It's a really cool show.
That's really cool. That's awesome. And nobody's like in character or anything. It's like
Keanu Reeves. I mean, they're talking as themselves and then as the character. But like, it's just like they're all like they have guests on who've never played D&D, and it's like it's not about D&D. It's about how funny it is the way they improvise these things.
Awesome.
And the way the story's developed. Because Spencer, like, he has things that he wants to happen, but he kind of lets them navigate how that happens.
That sounds great.
And it gets real goofy.
Yeah.
And real funny. And like, so I've been enjoying that.
Cool, man. I'd say the only other like bit of entertainment I've kind of enjoyed this week as I've been working my ass off and stuff. I've been listening through the It audiobook still.
All right, you still doing that?
Yeah. I started that a couple weeks ago.
So you're like a quarter of the way through?
Yeah, I was going to say. I've put in about 40 hours worth, so I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Man, the depth is nuts.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Uh-huh.
Not necessarily always needed or hyper entertaining to have all of this depth to everything. Like, I just listened to the whole like side story about that guy that like chopped up that other feller with the axe in the bar, like in the early 1900s in Derry and shit, and like nobody really noticed or cared. But one of the parts I got to today that I thought was really interesting was all the stuff with Patrick Hockstetter.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, he's real fucked up.
Holy shit.
That's like disappointing to me that they didn't bring that in.
I know.
To the new It. But
he was basically Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, like a young Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. I mean, he had like the homosexual tendencies, killed animals, was a straight up sociopath.
Yeah.
All the stuff about him like murdering his baby brother and shit, and thinking that he was like the only real person in the world.
Yeah,
Holy cow. I mean, all that stuff was nuts.
That's not every serial killer, but a lot of serial killers fall into that idea that the world is just a projection from inside themselves, and so whatever they do for their own entertainment isn't bad because it's not real.
It's not happening to real people. Yeah, that's how he kind of described it himself in the book, is like all these animals and stuff he killed, it's like, well, they weren't real,
right?
So it didn't even matter. It was really, really fascinating. Very, very cool. So I'm enjoying the book so far, man.
I can't disagree because I haven't read it since middle school, but I enjoyed it in middle school. I remember it being more about the accomplishment of reading such a large book, but enjoying it the whole time.
Right on, man. Right on. Do you plan on doing any like All Hallows read, like getting to a spooky book or something for the Halloween season coming up here?
No.
Sick.
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't know what it is, but I pick up a fiction book and immediately get disgusted by either the opening sentence or the opening paragraph. I have in the past few years not made it past the first chapter of most books.
Last time you picked up a book, you're like, in the beginning. Oh God, what a cliche.
Well, that's the thing though, is that like if I picked up David Copperfield, I Am Born. It's a fucking great opening line, especially
pretty tight.
Especially because of all it says to you about the person writing this book. It first tells you that the narrator of the book is the person the book is about.
Right.
It tells you that this person is not a very good storyteller. Nobody would start with I Am Born.
That's going back a pretty far piece. I think it would be better. Okay, 2 critiques.
Yeah.
If maybe one of these books started off with he wasn't born. Now I'm intrigued.
Oh damn. Well, see, that's where that is where literature lost me, is beginning in World War I with the real shift toward postmodernism. When it starts getting all up its own ass, that's when it all lost me. That's when I'm all just like, I don't care.
How about They Hasn't Born? Would that hook you?
They Hasn't Born. It's like the person who takes a typewriter to Starbucks to me. The moment that we got movie making machines in our pockets, and somebody still insisted on writing a book, why? You could have made that a movie, and it would have been more entertaining.
Okay, all right.
I get it. Listen, I have a degree in English literature. I got 2 of them.
This is just one of these self-hating English lits coming out right now.
I'm just saying to you that the value of books beyond World War I, for me, pretty low. Before that, amazing.
Now, hang on, though. Wasn't Dianetics written after World War I, Steve?
That's kind of where it all went downhill right there. Dianetics, I think. No, I'm just saying, like, if you want to read a super entertaining postmodern book, I tell you, go back to the 18th century to Lawrence Stern.
That's my guy, huh?
Tristram Shandy. Read that book. First off, it's one of the funniest books I've ever read in my life. And second off, you'll be like, oh, people in the 18th century thought the same way we do now.
Oh.
It's always a good insight because so much of writing in that time was about being formal and prosaic and trying to show off how smart you were. And this book, Lawrence Stern's Tristram Shandy, is more about indulging in the silliness and indulging in the whimsy of thought and following crazy, weird patterns. And also, one of the first things that happens in the book is he gets accidentally circumcised while trying to pee out a window.
That's hooking me right there. Yeah, that's a pretty strong start. It's a pretty strong start to a book.
And if you don't even want to read that far before you fully invest in Tristram Shandy, go ahead and watch A Cock and Bull Story, which is a movie about an attempt to make an adaptation of Tristram Shandy. And it stars Gillian Anderson and that British guy.
That one. That's the one.
That's the one. It's literally not much about the book. But that's what the book is. The book itself is not much about itself. Like it's like all over the place, funny, ridiculous, silly. Just sit down and try to read it.
Whenever I write my book and the first line is, "It all began with a drive-by circumcise," are you going to keep going or not? No, you're dropping it after that.
Yeah, because like so many books
drive-by circumcised.
So many books now are just about being edgy with that first sentence.
All right, that's fair enough.
I don't want that. I don't want edge. I don't want any of it. I want a story. Give me some Jane Austen. I don't want...
Give me some Jane Austen, said someone hundreds of years ago.
The only thing... I will disagree with myself on this a little bit. Genre fiction, I think, has a right to exist. Like science fiction, horror. I think there's a good reason to sit down and read a horror book because it immerses you in a way a horror movie can't.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of blanked out for the first part of that sentence because when you said genre fiction, I thought that was some French author I'd never heard of.
I'm speaking of course, genre fiction.
Genre fiction.
Yeah, genre fiction. So like, horror can pull you in a way through a book that a movie can't do.
Yeah.
Science fiction books can do things that they can't do well in film.
Sure.
So I get that. I get those things. I don't know. Anytime somebody writes a memoir now,
my memoirs,
like, we can look at your Twitter. Like seriously, do I need your memoir? You're on the internet your entire life. It's all there.
I know what happened.
I don't want your version of it.
What a bunch of douches.
I mean, this is a true thing, though. A lot of people who go through graduate programs in anything wind up hating that thing in some fashion, like some form or fashion. I think it's because you see the underbelly, you see like what it really is, and you know that when you read that line, how clever the person thought they were when they came up with it. And it's like, you're not clever.
Come on.
You're not clever.
I will not call you Ishmael.
There's a semicolon in your first sentence. Get out of here.
Well, Steve, the subject of our podcast today is none other than one of the all-time Hollywood horror giants. We're talking about Poltergeist. The new one, right?
No, of course.
You watched the new one, didn't
Everyone's favorite. Yeah.
We're talking about Poltergeist from 1982.
I did. You've watched the remake.
It is an abomination.
I watched it one night when I had a little bit to drink. And
you probably hadn't had enough.
I get mean to movies when I drink, and that movie didn't make...
Did you show it the back of your hand?
I did. It's like 10 minutes in. I was like, what the fuck? No. I just turned it off.
Bad.
I couldn't do it.
It's so fucking bad.
It lost all of the charm of this movie.
Absolutely so, yeah. It's one of those ones that I was just like, did they even watch the original? You can't have watched it.
The thing,
you can't have.
If you just look it up, Poltergeist 2015, the thing you'll see more often than not is a picture of that clown.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so
it's on
to
like
me,
the poster
it was
stuff.
that the person who wanted to remake it was really fucked up by that clown scene as a kid, and they were like, "That's what the movie is, right?" And then they went back and watched it, and they were like, I like the clown part.
Let's just go with that.
Let's go with that.
Let's keep going with that. And it is just it's a winner of a movie. Yeah. This is one of those ones I actually did not grow up with. I'll talk about that as we get on to the movie review portion. But before we get into that stuff, Steve, there's some talk in this flick
Yes, there is.
About what's going on inside of the house. What's the deal with the ghosts in this house?
What's the deal with these ghosts?
Is it a haunting? Is it a poltergeist? Is it a booger or a haint?
It might be a haint.
It might be a haint. Do you know what would be really awesome? That's right down lovely. If we did like this entire like remake or spin on this movie that would just call Haint. Or Booger. That was basically the story of this.
It's the same thing. It's a southern suburb.
It's just redneck though.
Yeah, and it's just rednecks living. Rednecks in a trailer park.
Yeah.
Rednecks in a trailer park. It's called Haint.
There's cans of skull flying around everywhere.
Yeah. They get that 60-year-old woman who says she's not religious but spiritual to come and clean the house. She smokes a bunch of cigarettes and then leaves.
She pulled out some sage from like a McCormick shaker spice container. It's all I had. She lights it up with her cigarette. Yeah, it should be about clean now. This house is good.
Should be all right.
This house is good.
I mean, there'd be no difference because in this movie, Zelda Rubinstein's character actually makes zero difference.
No, not really.
She helps him get the girl out, but she doesn't actually stop the poltergeist. Anyway.
There's so many kinds of ghosts and spirits and stuff out there, Steve. I just got to thinking, I was like, man, I wonder what kind we might be whenever we die.
Well, Ben, why don't we just slide on into the Preview Palace?
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
That was a reverse.
I got to do it that
we did
time.
It, yeah.
That's fun. I can see why you do it all the time.
It's really
pretty fun. And we're going to ask the wizards here at BuzzFeed, when we die, what kind of ghost are we going to become?
Yeah, Hannah Jewell and Becky Barnicoat worked together on this one.
Tag team champs.
Yeah.
Damn, man. All right, we're going to find out about it here.
What sound do you make when you get out of a deep, soft chair?
An audio question. I like where this is going already. Ooh. Oof. Oof. Okay.
I am noiseless as the infinite night.
I think right now, given the amount of like lifting and bruising my shins and beating myself up that I've been doing while I've been moving all this stuff, I think lately I've been having a lot of
Yeah.
every time I get up. Yeah. So I'm going to go with answer number one.
I've been working out a lot, just bragging.
Hey, you know.
Lost 40 pounds, whatever, guys. No big deal. My muscles are always a little bit sore. And so I have found myself every time I go to stand up going, oof.
Yeah.
Every single time. Just like,
No. All right, Steve, what's your favorite time of day? Is it an early morning, a delicious lunchtime, mid-afternoon, evening, late at night, or the witching hour?
What's the difference between late at night and the witching hour?
I think the witching hour is specifically like 3, isn't it?
Okay.
So that's like super late.
That's what I was thinking was late at night. So late at night, they mean 10, I assume.
I'm thinking like late at night starts at 10. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that makes sense to me.
I would say, for me, the witching hour.
Yeah.
Favorite time of day. Because right then, it's like, I go to sleep around 5 to 6.
Uh-huh.
And right at about 3, I feel like I get my most productive couple of hours before I start to feel tired.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm also in that same camp. And I've heard all kinds of theories about that. Like, I always used to do all my best artwork late at night and, like, write tunes late at night and stuff. Yeah. It's because your brain's, like, preparing for REM sleep.
Yeah.
You know?
Creativity,
so you start to get the crazy ideas.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it early in the morning. Like,
yeah, you have to be very disciplined.
My brain is just a little cloudy. Like, it's not until I've had lunch that I start to really feel like I can think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the late at nights because for myself, usually after, 10 o'clock or so, that's when I start getting my good ideas. And the smooth muscle relaxant that I consume called alcohol starts kicking in.
That does help.
Relaxes my smooth muscles.
Would you enjoy being a ghost?
Or a haint or a booger?
Would you enjoy being a booger? Maybe for a little while to see what it's like.
Okay.
Absolutely yes, I'd be the best ghost. I would enjoy drifting through walls.
That's got to be fun.
I bet. Yes, I want to stalk my descendants.
Damn.
No, it actually sounds terrible. I already am a ghost, in a way.
I think maybe for a little while to see what it's like. I think that would be fun. I don't know if I want to commit myself to a full eternity of hainthood. I think that might tire on me. I might be like, I want to move on towards the light. Go towards the light.
Right.
I might want to at some point, but I'd like to try it out for a little while. It'd be cool.
That's what I would probably say, but to say something different so we get different results, I'll say it actually sounds terrible. And it does sound terrible to me. That's why I'd want to try it to see if it is that terrible or if it's actually really fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be kind of nice, but then I'd be like, those people are eating pizza. I want some pizza.
Right. But you can't eat pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst.
Exactly. And again,
but do you crave pizza?
Of course I crave pizza.
Well, you don't have a body anymore.
So?
Okay.
I crave pizza when I'm not hungry, right?
Well, if pizza cravings are still going to be there, I sure as fuck don't want to be a ghost.
Nope. Hell no.
That'd be the worst.
But again, that's the problem is when you eat pizza on Earth, it gives you the carbs you need to stay on after death. So it's really a catch-22, isn't it?
That's why Dario Argento making a pizza, because he's really making you go to hell.
I want to live forever.
I want you to live in a hell. Smelling the pizza, but no eating the pizza.
What would you do if you met a ghost in real life?
Okay.
Piss my pants. Wait, my pants?
Piss your pants.
Piss your pants. You ever pissed somebody else's pants?
That's how scared I am. So scared I pissed your pants.
You whip it out and you point it and you're like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And then all the rest of the day, like I'm walking around the grocery store, people look at me and I'm like, Steve pissed my pants.
Steve pissed my pants. Oh, okay.
It's kind of hard to describe.
That's happened.
This isn't my pee. I'm not a baby.
Well, I guess that probably does happen to parents all the time. A baby pisses their pants.
That's probably true.
My baby pissed my pants. My baby pissed my shirt. What?
Pissed my everything. All right. Would you ask it deep questions? Make friends
what would
with it?
No.
I don't. Is it cold?
Okay.
Is it cold?
That's a pretty deep question.
Yeah.
Is it cold?
Because again, that would be why I want to test it out first. Because
Yeah,
what if you
cold.
become a ghost and you're like, this is pretty cool, but man, I'm cold all the time.
No nerve endings, so I'm assuming.
Hey, that's
it's
what you
neither
think.
hot nor cold.
Excuse me, I thought you were an English major, not a ghost major.
Oh shit! Yeah, I did. I was double majoring in ghost, but I had to drop it.
You got distracted by the pottery classes.
Yeah, that was it. It was mostly pottery classes.
Would you make friends with it, run for dear life,
Gotcha.
get it to scare your enemies, or find out what ghost sex is like?
The Anna Nicole.
Trim spa, baby.
I'd try to make friends with it. That's what I do with people.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Right? Yeah, I think that's probably what I would do as well. But I'm gonna ask it some deep questions like, is it cold?
Is it cold? What if that was it? You're just like, the ghost is like, I can tell you anything from beyond the grave. And you're just like, is it cold? And the ghost is like,
You cold?
no. All right.
All right, then, just checking.
That's it.
Hey, that's something to look forward to, guys. Ain't cold.
Ain't cold.
You want some more pizza?
What's your favorite sense, Ben?
Wow.
Sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. The sixth sense.
Is that time?
Well, I assume they're referring to the sense of spirits around you.
Yeah?
I guess.
You know what? This might seem like a weird choice considering I make my music, my living and stuff, but I'm probably going to say sight. I think I would have a really hard time dealing with life without sight. I mean, I couldn't drive myself places, couldn't watch my movies.
Mm-hmm. That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
But, touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're one of them touchy-feely kind of guys, huh?
I like, yeah. Yes. Yeah. I like touching things and being touched. Yeah. Those are positives, and I can't imagine having all my other senses but not being able to feel anything.
You know, it's kind of funny when you think about it, and I'm sure that is a thing that probably exists that is not funny.
Well, some people can't feel pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's dangerous, but it's not necessarily a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there's anyone out there who just can't feel anything. I guess if you're paralyzed from the neck down, you can't feel much.
Right.
Yeah. That's strange.
Strange
Never thought
and
about
unusual.
So, what would your Ghost soundtrack be?
Probably the first album, Opus Eponymous.
Okay.
Is their best record.
Let's see if that's there. Zither music.
Nah, okay, that's not it.
Wailing.
Woo!
Silence.
Okay.
Distant violin.
Oh, spoopy.
Free jazz. Oh, this is like a fun haunting.
Wow, man.
Beyonce.
Well, you know that I'm
just bitter about some stuff.
I think so. You know I'm all about some of that ghostly Bruce Dickinson style vibrato.
Yeah,
I gotta
that's
be
the
able
good
to
stuff
wail,
right there.
man.
You
Or
need
I
your
mean,
wailing
might mean wailing on a sick ghost tar.
Holy shit!
You know what I mean? I might be up in the attic.
Needs to exist.
You're trying to sleep. I'm up in the attic wailing on my ghost tar.
In Herman Melville's Pierre, another book worth reading. There's a character who has a guitar that is inhabited by the spirit of her mother, and it talks. So there is a ghost tar.
Make it talk, mother stuff. Crazy. Does that happen? Does anybody ever say make it talk?
Mother stuff.
And it's like, clean your room.
That's all
like, Mom, I'm trying to play solo. God.
My ghost soundtrack would be probably free jazz. I want it to be a fun haunting.
Jam.
If I'm going to be haunting, I want people to be like, what's that sound? There's the smell of whiskey in the air.
I smell gin coming from the bathtub. The juke joint is really rocking tonight.
People dancing together regardless of race, color, or creed.
The problem is, though, Steve, you didn't read the fine print there. There's actually an asterisk right there.
Oh, no.
It's free jazz with purchase of another jazz of equal value.
Damn it.
Yeah,
and how am I going to purchase anything?
Yeah, you ain't going to ghost. You ain't going to ghost bucks.
Ghost bucks, yeah.
Yeah, it's a real problem. All right, Steve, what would be the best thing about being a ghost? Is it going to be scaring people? General sense of lightness. Oh. You're becoming lighter by the day.
That's true.
It seems to be getting pretty good to you. Immortality, making ghost friends,
right?
Listening in on people, or no more commuting.
Oh, wow.
I guess no more job, too.
Yeah, that actually is great right there. So, yeah, no more commuting.
That sounds pretty good.
I don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah.
No
I think
rent.
if I was mortal, I could get a lot of stuff done. I'm going to go with immortality.
But you can't pick anything up. Except for your ghost tar.
Yeah, so which is all I need.
You're
yeah,
fine.
really.
Yeah.
As long as I can wail, I'm good.
I can wail. What's your vibe?
Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Are you chill? What?
Yeah.
Complex? Hangry? Petty? Serene? Or dash flirty dash?
Yeah, notice they put some like little festive dashes on either side of that thing. That's kind of interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you say?
I'm gonna go with chill. I think most people that know me he's a pretty laid back, kind of chill guy.
I'd say complex.
Yeah,
like that
you're a
guy.
Complex ghost.
I don't get him.
Steven, known for his complexity.
Yeah.
As much as he dislikes complex carbohydrates, he likes being a complex person.
Being complex.
Exactly. You're like, I don't need them. I am them.
Whoa.
I am carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates ain't got nothing on me.
All right, Steve. Apparently, I am a petty, quick-tempered, and extremely fashionable ghost.
That sounds like you.
I think that's the opposite of everything that I'm doing right now, actually. Pretty laid back, and I haven't washed my hair in like 5 days, and all I wear is like shirts that gear companies give
sounds
me.
pretty petty.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're a ghost who decided to stick around in order to make life hell for everyone who ever wronged you while you were alive. You'll also be completely fabulous. No other ghost will match your coordination of your ghost accessories. Your ghost hats will be the envy of the ghost world.
I like how much they said ghost.
Yeah, me too.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good.
I got a sexy, flirty ghost.
Oh, yeah, the kind Anna Nicole likes.
Yeah. Just because you're a ghost doesn't mean you can't still be sexy. Yes, you'll be the flirtiest ghost who ever did haunt a stately manor.
Damn.
Word will get round about that strange tingly feeling you give to the living, and men and women alike will want to spend the night in your haunted house.
Is that a euphemism?
Sorry, boys, I'm straight.
Look out.
A straight ghost.
Look at you, man. Damn. Well, now we know, dude. Now we know.
And I'm definitely going to carry that with me the rest of my life.
Yeah.
If
something to look forward to.
What kind of ghost would you be? Sexy, flirty ghost.
Yeah, I already got it.
Not even a fucking contest.
And I'm going to be fashionable but petty.
Yeah, real petty.
Yeah, I got
Just
it.
like somebody moves your pin or something.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
For eternity. I've got all of eternity. to fuck with you.
Fuck you because you moved my pen.
Exactly right.
Man, that would suck.
Yeah.
Yep. Now it's time for a commercial.
Goddamn, Steve. I'll tell you what. I've got myself a real issue on my hands here. I've got a problem.
What might that be?
It's the month of October, the month of All Hallows Eve.
That's it.
And here I am trying to sell my dang abode. I'm selling my house. I'm putting this thing on the market, which of course means apparently you can't decorate for Halloween.
What
a bunch of bullshit. I guess some people don't like things that are nice.
Well, what if you could decorate your body for Halloween?
My body?
Yeah.
How could I decorate my body?
Well, you could head on over to Clairevoyant Clothing and get you some of them sweet designs they got over there. They got that spirit board design.
You're wearing that
right now, coincidentally. I didn't even think about it.
I can see that you've decorated your body very festively. You're truly in the All Hallows spirit.
I truly am. I did not plan this at all. I actually just wear this shirt pretty regularly. These
on the reg.
Good. They're really good shirts.
It's a good high quality shirt. It's made of that soft material.
Sure is.
Perfect for people that like things that are nice. And I'll tell you what, Steve, I've also been getting myself festive all year round by using my Clairvoyant Death Tarot card design string bag to stuff full of my cables and equipment and stuff like that every time I'm out gigging with my various musical acts.
You know what?
Great.
When they sent us those string bags, immediately something clicked in my brain and I was like, why didn't we use those when we trick-or-treated as kids?
My God.
We're carrying around this stupid plastic bag that gets heavier and heavier over the night. You could just put it on your shoulders.
That's a much better move.
I'm telling you.
Better for our young, weak backs.
So head on over to clairvoyantclothing.com. You can use our coupon code, which is, of course, Dead and Lovely. That'll get you 6% off, but stuff over there is pretty cheap anyway, starting at $16.66.
This t-shirt of the beast.
Exactly. Man, I'm telling you, head on over there. They're great. Great designs. They got some new stuff for October, so go check it out.
Yes, indeed.
Commercial over.
I do think it would be fun to be a poltergeist type spirit and just like fuck with people's stuff, move things around. You ever have any experiences where like stuff has moved around or perhaps flown through the air or done anything mysterious?
No. The closest thing I would say to ever having some ghostly experiences when I lived in the basement of the house next to a cemetery. And
that's my favorite Argento movie.
Yep. The basement and the house next to the cemetery.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There was a wood burning stove down there.
Yeah.
And so it would make a lot of noises. And also as it heated up, it would expand the steps. And so it would sound like there were steps going slowly up the stairs.
Oh, okay.
As a little kid, I was like, oh no, a ghost.
Oh,
as an
boogers.
adult, I'm like, it's just normal expansion and contraction of wood.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just wood being annoying.
Yeah, but the closest I've come to actually experiencing a haunting is when I told the story just a few episodes ago where my friend, he basically sprayed a whole bunch of LSD into my mouth. And then told me the story about how his house was haunted and I could see all of it in my brain. That was pretty cool experience. But of course that was under the effect of hallucinogens.
All bets are off if that's the case.
Anything becomes true at that point.
You can taste the ghost at that point. I'm pretty sure.
Might as well. She was wearing a dress with cherries. It was like a print dress with cherries. He said that to me and I saw it immediately in my head. Like I was just so out of my brain.
Oh damn.
It was awesome.
That's pretty
rad, really cool.
Man.
Yeah.
I've had just like some minor stuff. I've mentioned like on some past episodes, like my wife's parents' place seems to have maybe some minor weird activity.
It's an older house built in a more historic area around here.
Yeah, definitely. And there was weird stuff that we experienced. Like we heard the piano in the front room would like play itself and stuff. It wasn't a player piano. There was no mechanics or anything like that. Honest to God, probably could have just been a mouse running around.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it was probably...
You know what I mean? It might have been one of those kinds of things.
Any number of things inside there, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a few other like little things at that place that were odd.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's the thing. It's like when somebody seems to be insane to one person and they mention it to another person, that other person will start seeing it.
Oh, yeah,
because
totally.
questioning someone's sanity is so easy in other people's heads. It's easy to make people think another person's insane. It's the same principle with hauntings. All you have to do is lay the groundwork. Like, I think this place is haunted. And then people are looking for haunting.
Yeah. Ooh, would you feel that cold patch of air?
Yes. We're right under a vent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's an old house. There's drafty windows and shit. Right. Yeah.
But you immediately start looking for them because I don't know why we tend toward that weird verve. We always go for everything outside of me is outside of my control, so it could be anything. So if somebody says that guy's insane, he probably is. If somebody says that place is haunted, it probably is. Like, I'm the only thing I can control.
Well, the thing is it all goes back to that principle of I can't explain it, therefore I can explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it becomes so easy whenever something unexplainable happens to immediately discount it as a ghost or some spiritual force or something like that. Because it's a way to rationalize it. Like, even though that's irrational and improvable, it's still a way to explain it to yourself. Because otherwise it just wouldn't make sense, and the human brain does very badly with just being like, I don't know, that was weird, right?
Yeah. The majority of experiences also that happen to people that I've heard happen when they're children. Yeah. And listen, children are adorable. Love them to death.
They're the future.
They're the future. They also lie and can't tell the difference between fantasy and reality.
That is also true.
Yeah. And if you maintain a lie in your head long enough, you'll believe that it was true. That you really did see that, or that really did happen.
Yeah.
It like
the brain is amazing at playing tricks on itself.
It is really good at playing tricks on itself because we try to make something out of everything. Like lights and shadows, we try to what does that look like? A face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Always a face.
Your brain's always trying to interpret it as something. Yeah. It's very true, man.
But yeah, I don't ghosts. The only problem I have with this movie is that I don't care about it. I like this movie a lot. It's a very entertaining movie. But every time they start talking about EVPs and all this bullshit about ghost hunting, to me it's just like, it's like talking about cricket. It's a thing I know people do for unexplainable reasons, and it will never make sense to me why they care about it. But at least cricket is real.
Cricket is real.
It's for sure real.
It is provable.
Yeah.
You're right there, man. Now, I'm good to just kind of assume that this wasn't the first time you've ever seen this movie.
I remember seeing this as a kid, and the tree scene was like, just like with Creepshow last week, the tree scene made me always have this sort of weird fear.
You're one of them dendrophobes, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not really now, but like as a kid, it was just always like these trees outside the window, especially if there's like a thunderstorm or something.
Yeah.
And you just see like those flashes and like the limbs are sort of all over the place.
And again, your brain is finding faces.
You're
and shit
finding
like that,
all the different things. Yeah. So as a kid, that really messed with me. Now as an adult, it doesn't bother me.
Oh, quick side tangent real quick. Did you see this shit about all the hidden faces in Midsummer?
No.
Holy shit.
There are a ton of hidden faces?
Yes.
Huh.
And there was one of them, I can't remember if I leaned over and I told you or told Kate. I think I told Kate. Towards the end of the movie, whenever they're like carrying her as like the queen and stuff, you know? Like off in the trees in the distance, there's like this huge face.
Yeah, I remember I was talking about it in the mini-sode.
Yeah. And it's actually the face of her sister that has like the hose pipe leading into the mouth and stuff. It's just like her sister's face. Well, you know, you see her when she goes into like that little shed and she's like looking in the mirror in the dark and you see her sister's face behind her.
Yeah.
It's like her sister's face is apparently all over the fucking movie.
Oh, okay.
Which just chills me to my core.
I'm excited to watch it again, honestly.
I'm getting more and more stoked to watch it again. Yeah, that just reminded me of that. Thought I'd point that out. So the first time that I watched this movie was actually not that long ago.
Okay.
I think probably like 6 or 7 years ago was the first time that I watched this movie.
I think it's one that is probably overlooked a lot when people start recommending movies to people who are just getting into horror movies.
Yeah.
Poltergeist is one I would say is like a basic one. That's like one you want to tell people
pretty
early. Like if they're like, I don't really like horror movies, go with Poltergeist. It's not as much about jump scares. There are no deaths. It's not like gory and stuff.
No, not really. Yeah. And just as a very like relatable family situation.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. This is a good one to kind of get into if somebody's not really sure about testing the horror waters. This is pretty good to start with.
When anyone asks a horror fan what to watch, everyone's like, but fucking
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, watch the most brutal shit ever. You didn't like it? I don't get it.
Yeah, oh, fuck you. Yeah, really. Yeah, this is a good one to start with for sure. I watched this on my birthday about 7 or so years ago, I think. And I recall watching this movie as well as a Tarsum Singh movie.
Oh, okay.
Is that one that he did that's like really fairy tale-ish?
With the little girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the stuntman played by Lee Pace.
Yeah, and all the gold stuff.
I can't remember the name.
I can't remember what it's called either, man.
It's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like look it up on.
It's a real cute movie. Look
really
it up.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I watched those in the same night to celebrate my day of birth, and I was really, really impressed by Poltergeist. Mm-hmm. It was one of those ones that, you know, you see it on all those lists of horror classics and stuff like that. But you know, there's a lot of those movies you go back and watch, and it's just like, well,
they don't hold up.
Yeah, they hadn't really gotten the hang of this whole horror thing by then. But I was immediately impressed by the quality of how well made the flick is. It just reeks of Spielberg in so many ways.
It really does.
How wonderful the family is, the special effects, the pacing, just everything about the movie. I just really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I loved it as a kid. I never turned away from it. It was never one of those that I was like, that one's actually lame. Like, it's good. It's a good movie.
Poltergeist sold out.
It did. It sold out.
That movie's a sellout.
It's a big pizza.
Let's get ourselves another pull on a beer here. We've cleared out these cups, and now we're ready to take part in a Distill Brewery Wild Sour series. We've had some Distill on the show
limited
before.
release, it says here.
That's right. And I think we had the Distill Tropical Flare IPA a while back, which I love
it's really
so
good.
much. Distill hasn't had anything that I have not liked. I like everything that they do. Now, I was really skeptical about this one whenever Kate brought it home because it's a
rosé.
Rosé, yeah. Sour rosé ale with apple and raspberry. That there sounds like some basic bitch shit. But I was delighted to find it's some complex bitch shit.
All right.
And I'm a complex bitch. Shit.
You are. That's true.
It looks like damn pink lemonade or something.
Wow.
And it tastes delightful. It has a very potent tartness up front, but then a nice, wonderful, like raspberry finish on the back.
It kind of smells like a rosé.
It does. And honestly, the biggest thing about it is that it tastes nothing like what it smells.
Okay.
Whenever I cracked one open and poured it out for Kate, I was like, this smells like something I'm going to hate.
Yeah.
I didn't like how it smelled at all. Tastes nothing like how it smells. It's like a really weird separation of smell and taste. What do you think about that?
Oh.
It's like really light, right?
It's very light and floral. It's got like... Wow.
Yeah.
It has like almost a cereal sort of taste to it,
too. I think that's like the yeastiness of the wine and stuff, you know? And a lot of that's just kind of like on the nose, I think.
Yeah.
But what's left on the palate is just nice and
very
lightly
light.
tart.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you have like a real raspberry where it's like, you have that raspberry flavor, but it's also quite tart at the same
I got some
time.
raspberries at the store the other day. Went to town on them.
Yeah?
Man.
Just hit them straight up.
They're so good, yeah. Love me a raspberry.
Raspberry.
I think blackberries, because I grew up picking them a
blackberry.
lot.
Oh,
and
hell
the wild
yeah,
blackberries that grow around here. Blackberries always have a real positive vibe for me. I bite into them and it's just like, oh yeah, getting cut up like crazy.
Oh my god, they'll
picking
shred
wild raspberries
or
blackberries.
Yeah, they'll completely destroy you, dude. But they're so fucking good.
So good, yeah.
So good. All right, so this movie, obviously, there's some stuff about the production, directional stuff that we have to cover.
We have to talk about that. So, Tobe Hooper is credited as director in this. It has been disputed in the past by members of the crew, actors, etc., that basically Steven Spielberg called the shots.
Yeah.
But looking more into the argument, what you find is that, Steven Spielberg directed Tobe Hooper, and Tobe Hooper directed the movie. That's not normally how a producer works in Hollywood. Normally they're more hands-off. But you could say for sure that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, those are directed by Kevin Feige. He's directing all those directors and telling them what's going to happen in the movies. So it doesn't take away from the fact that those directors are on set doing all the blocking setting up all the shots and telling all the actors what to do. That's the director. So when people say Tobe Hooper didn't direct this movie, well, they're wrong. Tobe Hooper directed this movie. Steven Spielberg just made a lot of the directorial decisions.
I guess you could say it's kind of like whenever the primary songwriter of the song doesn't instantly discount the fact that all these other musicians played on it and stuff. I mean, the fact that fucking Freddie Mercury wrote Bohemian Rhapsody, it doesn't mean that, like, damn, Brian May didn't work on that solo. Doesn't take away from his work. Yeah.
So Tobe Hooper, I think, has been kind of thrown under the bus a little bit on this.
He has a bit, yeah. And even like Zelda Rubinstein said that like Tobe Hooper,
she thought he was on drugs.
And said he couldn't direct Traffic.
Right.
Which, hey, directing Traffic is not an easy job, Zelda. Yeah. I'd like to see you go out there and do it.
There are far worse things that can happen in directing Traffic than directing a movie.
It's true. There's real lives on the line.
In directing a movie, you just say cut and like it's done.
Let's try it again.
What if you did that directing Traffic? Like you
everybody,
like
cut.
5 cars into a wreck and you're like, cut. All right, let's back to places.
Do it again. Let's run another one. Once more with feeling.
I think more of what we should take away from this is that Steven Spielberg, it was his first producing job.
Right.
He didn't know what to do. But he knew how to direct a movie. So that's what he was doing.
Well, and the thing about this is, like I said, it reeks of Spielberg to me. There's so many things about this.
It's so much him.
That just feel like it. Yeah. But also, there's the fact that his editor was the guy cutting the movie.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, the soundtrack is going to sound like a Steven Spielberg movie. He's not going to bring in somebody who's going to do something completely different. He wants it to be light, peppy, he doesn't want what somebody might think of like some ambient noises, maybe something a little more sparse. Like he doesn't want that. He wants like he wants it real peppy at the beginning,
magical like.
It gets more dark towards the middle and then real peppy again at the end. Like that's how his movies sound.
Which even on the side of the soundtrack is kind of interesting because, you know, Spielberg historically has worked with John Williams on like everything.
Yeah.
And this is not scored by him. It's by our boy Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah, who's awesome.
Who is a fucking icon. Yep. Holy shit. Jerry Goldsmith has done so much amazing stuff.
There is a little John Williams sort of, I guess, shout out. Like, there's very clearly in one of those scenes with Robbie in his bed when he's talking to his mom.
Yeah.
The Star Wars poster behind him, like, it's just sort of like right there beside his head. John Williams.
Yeah.
But it has, I mean, it's Jerry Goldsmith. Like, it has everything he can do, and it has the tone that you expect from a Spielberg movie. So it's hard to ever find Tobe Hooper in this.
That's a good way to put it. It's hard to find the Tobe Hooper in this. Yeah, because when I think of Tobe Hooper, it's like I'm obviously thinking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all of the just brutality and grimness and just how raw and nasty that movie is. And this movie has none of that.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about Tobe Hooper's career sometime when we do another Tobe Hooper movie, but it's hard to follow up Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but that's also no excuse to not fully be able to follow it up. I mean, it would be hard to follow up Halloween, and John Carpenter did it. Like,
he's made some awesome shit.
It's hard to follow up a great premiere, but like that's no excuse for never really.
He did a lot of bad movies, is what I'm saying. Yeah, Tobe Hooper made a lot of bad movies.
But I mean, Tobe Hooper was in the editing bay for 10 weeks with the editor.
Wow.
There's got to be, and he was blocking the shots. That there were things he was adding to it, but it really is Steven Spielberg's vision.
Yeah.
The reason Steven Spielberg could not direct this movie is because he was under contract to direct E.T., and E.T. started filming a couple weeks after this wrapped.
Oh, damn.
So he was working on this while also preparing for E.T.
Busy guy.
Under contract, could not work on this. But he didn't, I think he said about Tobe Hooper that Tobe Hooper's not a take charge kind of guy.
Yeah, not a hands-on kind of director.
Right.
Yeah.
And Steven Spielberg was the one who chose him to be the director. So he chose someone that he could basically direct.
Yeah.
To get around the rule. To basically say, well, I'm not breaching my contract because I'm not being credited as director.
But also happen to get a guy who I know will take direction if I give it to him. You know?
Yeah. So a lot of that is just Hollywood contract nonsense.
Yeah, a lot of red tape and bullshit.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is like, at the end of the day, at the Oscars and shit, you know, this and E.T. both got nominated for tons of stuff, like best special effects and things.
And E.T. beat this in 2 categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Steven Spielberg's like, oh, shucks. Lost. But I won.
So that's really, I'm glad you brought that up, because the original idea that he brought to Tobe Hooper to direct was supposed to be a dark horror sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I heard about that. Yeah, as I was doing a little bit of research, they said that this was kind of originally conceived that way, and then they decided to take the more kind of spiritual slant to things.
Spielberg's idea was entitled Night Skies, and basically he used parts of Night Skies to make E.T. and Poltergeist.
No shit.
So, yeah, he was like, okay. And you can see some of the connections between Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T., obviously, but it's harder to see how he could have pulled from that to make Poltergeist. It was Tobe Hooper's idea to make it a ghost story. So that kind of, at least Tobe had like some direction there from the beginning, saying we should make a big
contribution there. Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, it's this movie and E.T. I wanted to look and see if I could draw comparisons, but just thinking through it in my mind, the only thing that really connected for me was cute little girl and the music.
Yeah, that's about all the connective tissue. And like suburban early 80s America. That's Steven Spielberg,
every movie. In
the 80s,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. That would be an interesting thing to do. Watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind and see how Poltergeist is a sequel to it and how E.T. is a sequel to it.
And of course, we have to at least make cursory mention of the entire supposed Poltergeist curse and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, this isn't a true crime podcast, and you probably don't tune in to hear terrible stories about young actresses being choked to death by their boyfriends who were possessive and pieces of shit.
Apparently.
Let's mention his name just in case you ever run into him. John Thomas Sweeney.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, John
You're
Thomas
a piece
Sweeney.
of shit.
Yeah, and it was just a couple months after Poltergeist. Like she had lined up a job. She was going to be in the miniseries V. Like she was preparing for that. It just fuck that guy.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that whenever you start researching this whole curse thing, I mean, there's some really fucked up stuff that happened.
Yeah, but it's really just trying to find a thread.
Yeah, but
between terrible tragedies.
The things that stood out the most to me are, like you said, the girl that played Dana is the older daughter, right? Played her, got strangled to death by her boyfriend. Obviously, you know, the girl that played Carol Ann,
she died of bowel obstruction at 12.
I mean, that fucking sucks. That really fucking sucks.
It was like right after they had shot Poltergeist 3.
Yeah. And then one of the craziest ones to me that I found out about is that one of the construction worker guys that's like catcalling Dana got like murdered with an axe by a serial killer in like 2000 something.
Like not long ago.
Like that guy had to be looking back being like, whew, sure I'm glad this old poltergeist curse dodged me, huh?
No,
I'm being murdered by an axe. I mean, not just killed, an axe murderer.
Yeah.
Like you read about.
Like you read about in the 1910s.
yeah, exactly, dude. Holy shit. And there's all this speculation that, you know, maybe all this bad juju and all these bad vibes and stuff like that came from the fact that they employed the use of like actual human cadavers in the pool scene and stuff. And I don't know. The thing is like that wasn't all that uncommon of a practice back then.
No, I guess not an uncommon practice in general. Like, what do you think they do with your bones if you donate your body?
Dude, is there a special box that I can check on my card that says donate my body to a horror movie?
That would be cool.
Maybe what you do is
you could make a contract with somebody.
I guess so. Sure. You get dibs.
Yeah, you got dibs on my bones.
I would totally probably give my bones up to probably like Ari Aster.
That'd be cool.
You can use
just
my
throw
bones,
these
dude.
in somewhere.
Yeah, Jordan Peele. Use my bones, dude. You know what you're doing.
Take my bones. I wonder, I mean, I just had two weird thoughts. First off, how many real human bones are just in production company closets and stuff right now.
Yeah.
And like,
it's like
do they know the name of the
meemaw.
person? And then number 2, I wonder how many mouthy actresses in the 1920s turned into bones in a movie later.
Pretty easy to hide them when you got all these human corpses on set, I guess,
that's what I'm saying.
Huh.
And they sure didn't treat actresses well, ever. Still haven't, I don't think.
Can you imagine how cool it would be, though, if, like, you knew that one of those corpses in the pool was, like, your great aunt?
Oh, man!
You're like, that's Beverly! Dude, that's her right there. She's coming up. Do you know my great aunt's in Poltergeist? Yeah, she's one of the corpses that floats up through the water.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
That I would tell everybody. Yeah, I'd tell everybody that.
I think what you do if you want that to be how your body gets used is, like, instead of just checking the box on your license, you fill it in with a pentagram.
Oh, yeah, and they're like, oh, I know what this guy
wants.
wants.
We signed it with a pentagram. He wants to be used by the horror people. Got it.
Can I donate my guts to be used as well?
Yeah, I think those always go to like Eli Roth, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like,
yuck.
Anybody but that, please.
All right.
Yeah, so I don't know about all the curse business. There's a lot of just like definite bullshit stuff too, where it's like, the mom talked about, I went home and my pictures on my wall were crooked. It's like, okay, that's probably some bullshit.
I'm sure a lot of that was probably coached in the early days, like because they did the same thing with The Exorcist.
Oh yeah,
and because Steven Spielberg was not entering a new territory here. He was basically just sanitizing the territory that is Amityville Horror and what's that other? Haunting of Hell House.
Yeah.
Or Hell House. What is it?
Hill House, Haunted Hill.
The Legend of Hell House.
Oh, okay.
Where there's like a scientist and a medium and stuff. It's like 73. Mm-hmm. It's actually a good haunting movie. But Steven Spielberg is just basically making it the light family version of those things. So you take out most of the gore, you take out any real deaths, but you can still explore the interesting idea of like these people who commune with spirits and these people who use these weird instruments to somehow measure spirit activity.
Yeah.
I mean, this is before Ghostbusters.
Right, yeah.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
He's kind of sanitizing it and make it fun, which paves the way for Ghostbusters.
Then, yeah, definitely so.
And then, Ghost and all those other movies that were just Ghost Dad, for instance. Like, all of that comes from the sanitization of Ghost through Poltergeist.
And that also, too, comes from just taking the haunted house out of a haunted house.
Yeah.
It's no longer in this big gothic castle or mansion
just a
or
suburban ticky-tacky house that looks like every other house in the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which we'll kind of talk about some of the themes that go throughout this movie and stuff as we go along with the episode here, because I think there's a lot to kind of dig around with there. But ultimately, the core of this movie is the cast. And there's kind of a couple little sets of characters here that I'd like to talk about. Of course, at the core of this, we have the family itself.
The Freelands.
I find just to be so immensely appealing. I think that their casting is fantastic. I mean, the kids are great, but at the same time, the kids are like believable. Mom and dad are just so real. You know?
As I was gonna say, I like how real they are and like slightly detached. Like their teenage daughter is a little rebellious, but they actually don't even seem to notice it. Like, you can tell why she's rebelling to get attention because it's actually not even working. When she shows up, when the house is basically imploding in on itself or whatever, she shows up with 2 hickeys on her neck. Yeah. Neither of her parents pay any attention to it.
That's true, yeah.
Like, she said, they mentioned the motel, and she was like,
I know that place.
I know that place. And her mom's like, what?
What?
Yeah, just like, but no follow-up. Just like, well, whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
You're almost an adult. That's your thing.
And they are kind of detached in the way that they're just like always putting their kids in front of the TV and stuff like that too.
Yeah, it's a real interesting look at the yuppie lifestyle in these emerging suburbs.
Yeah.
Especially when you see Craig T. Nelson, who is Stephen Freeling, when you see him smoking weed and reading Reagan's biography.
Let's talk about that scene a little while. So one thing that I want to put out there about this is how good of a job this movie does at Showing Not Telling, one of our favorite things that we find in very successful movies, where they never give you this big backstory about how maybe the parents were like free love hippies that met at Woodstock or something like this. But just through little things like that context stuff of like, yeah, they still smoke dope. You just kind of get the impression that they are probably hippies in recovery, so to speak. They're hippies that grew up and got jobs.
Yeah, they became the yuppies.
And they make references to, like whenever the mom talks to Craig Nelson and she's like, just try to be open-minded like we used to be.
Right.
And she still seems to be much more spiritually open to the possibilities of these things. I mean, she's like downright excited whenever she finds the ghosts are like moving stuff in the kitchen. Like she's got the X-Files thing. She wants to believe. Like there's still part of her that still is, I think, a hippie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a part of the boomer identity. It's still very much a thing. You still see these now grandmothers and great grandmothers who are anti-vaxxers and all sorts of stuff because they believe in like the healing energy of crystals and things.
Right.
And then all the dads are still this like, gruff conservative but not really outward open about it type of guy who actually does smoke weed, but it's like he still isn't for legalization for some reason.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean that just describes like so many fucking dads, including my own. Absolutely.
It's crazy.
So. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like this is a perfect depiction of like Steven Spielberg saw this in people that was what this generation was becoming.
Yep. And he wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong. In this movie looks at it playfully, but it is critical. But like one of the things that you see early on is the remote control battle.
Yeah.
It seems entirely ridiculous if you didn't ever grow up in a period where remote controls could share the same wavelength.
Interact with each other.
But beyond that, what it indicates is they're so close to each other that their remote controls are interfering with one another. Now, today, when you look back on it, you're like, yeah, suburbs. But in 1982, if you lived in the South and you were seeing this, you'd be like, people really live like that?
Yeah, they got their neighbors up their ass. Ugh.
Yeah. Like, people in the middle of the country would have been like, that looks like hell.
Right.
And that's what they're going for, is that this is a suburban hell pit that opens up and swallows a house. Like, they're going for, this is bad. It's not a positive thing. These people are good, but the setting and the world they live in, the American dream they're chasing is not positive.
Yeah. I can completely see that, and that's one of those things that I even remember growing up. In the mid 80s, there was definitely this emphasis on how if you had a house in the suburbs with a pool or whatever, you were living the dream.
Living the dream, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was the American dream that was very much pushed on us, I think, as kids. But one thing that I really like about that scene where they're in their bedroom and stuff, and they're just like goofing around and having fun,
smoking
and just,
weed and having fun,
enjoying not having to take care of the kids for a minute and stuff.
Right.
Name one other movie in this time period that featured the good guys recreationally smoking weed,
right,
and didn't demonize it.
Yeah, that's true. It's not a very common thing to see at this point.
No.
Yeah, I mean, smoking weed would get you killed in a Friday the 13th movie. This is 82. No, it had already happened by then, yeah.
Exactly. But like this shows it as like, this is something that parents all over the place do behind closed doors.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
That was a thing that was always weird to me. Like, I remember my DARE teacher.
Yeah.
I knew she smoked weed. Like, because she lived near my aunt and uncle who smoked weed. Mm-hmm. And they smoked weed together. And so I remember sitting at DARE, thank you, President Reagan.
Thanks, Reagan.
Mm-hmm. I remember sitting there and thinking, like, oh, so adults just lie. Okay.
or you sit there and go, oh, weed isn't drugs.
Weed isn't drugs.
Because it's not.
It's not. But yeah, like it's just one of those early things where it's like, all right, adults just lie, and that's just it. Like, you just say lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to make your kids' lives better, I guess.
I guess, somehow.
But I was impressed just to see just how open this movie was about it. How it didn't, like I said, demonize them or make it look like, oh, these kids' parents are druggies. They're degenerates.
Yeah, and it's not even a result of them smoking weed, because we've already had Carol Ann talking to the television in the opening. So, like, their house has already got a poltergeist before they've ever done any negative, right?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not being shown in any negative light. It's just being like, that's what adults do when they're chilling out and de-stressing from their jobs and their kids, and they just want to relax.
Yeah. Guess what? Everybody likes to relax.
Yeah. That is a truth.
But I love how the family dynamic in this too, dude, is such that they're just a pretty normal, pretty healthy family.
Yeah, they are.
They're
good parents. I mean, they're not like helicopter parents. They let their kids make their choices and stuff.
Yeah, they're not religious zealots. Yeah. They're not at all your typical horror movie family. It's like somewhere along the lines, like a lot of writers of horror flicks started to think like, man, if you have a family where like, they're in this degenerate, awful situation. Maybe the dad beats the kids or the mom is a religious nut.
Well, it probably all started a bit with Nightmare on Elm Street, the travel down. Like, because Halloween has the absent parents, but they're not bad.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street has the parents that are actively bad.
Right. But the fact that
they're the cause of the problem.
But the fact that the parents in this are like actually good and likable and relatable makes you get drawn into the movie that much more.
You care about each one of them.
Yeah.
You don't want them to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I like that this movie doesn't go for the typical shitty, dark, grimy family situation and just kind of puts you in the household of a family that thinks that they're doing their best in this time period,
And the cast, I mean, we were talking about the cast. So Steven Spielberg wanted to cast people who were virtually unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, we look back on this now, Joe Beth Williams, Craig T. Nelson, we know who they are.
Yeah.
And, of course, the little girl we know from the other two Poltergeist movies. But we don't... If you were watching it in 82, you wouldn't really know who these people are. So it actually draws you in more because you're not thinking like, oh, I know him from that other thing. All right, I've seen him in that show I like.
Or like, I know he's gonna live because he's a big star.
And this is something that I when I was reading that, I saw the elevation of this. Like, Steven Spielberg deciding to do that kind of leads somewhat directly to the idea behind Blair Witch Project of, okay, well, let's make it even more real. Like, not only do people not know who these actors are, but the actors don't even know what's going to happen, so their responses are real. And then you get the Paranormal Activity, where it's like, we're watching home cameras of these people we do not know, and we're not even sure if this is real or not. Like, it's this constant attempt with haunting of trying to one-up that. How real can we make it look before like it falls apart?
No, I think that the next wave is going to be like just a movie about a pair of shoes and the stuff it encounters.
Just a couple GoPros on the tips of the shoes.
Exactly right.
It's like a dog's life, but it's a shoe's life.
It's pretty much that.
I'm a shoe. That's me, a shoe.
But yeah, all the cast in this, I think, does a great job. I don't think that any of the acting in it is crap at all.
No.
I think the family is all super likable. The kids act like kids.
Yeah.
Robbie, the son, has like, just kind of like annoying buck teeth. I'm just growing my adult teeth in kind of thing going on. He just seems like a normal ass kid.
He's a perfect Spielberg kid.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit to his face that makes you like remember him instead of all the kids looking the same. Like, I mean, you look at Goonies. Look at any time that he brings kids in, he always he's looking for unique looking kids.
Yeah.
Not like ugly, not overly pretty, just normal, unique looking kids.
Yeah, definitely so. And man, fucking Carol Ann is adorable as
she
shit.
Is. And she wasn't an actress. Like, he just saw her at something. I can't remember what it was, but he asked her parents if she would be interested in acting, and they brought her in for an audition. And she couldn't stop laughing when trying to say the lines, even in like the scary scenes. But he thought she looked so angelic that he really wanted it to work. So he like really pushed to get her ready for it, and she does a good job.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, those scenes like early in the movie where she's staring at the TV and it's like she's like answering questions that the TV is asking her and stuff. Yeah. It just seems so legit, like that's what a kid would do.
I was gonna say,
like, nowadays they'd have the kid acting all creepy and the lighting would be weird and all this kind of shit.
But
you know,
kids can be creepy without that.
Yeah.
Like, kids can be very creepy because they can invent an entire person in their head and talk to them like they're talking to another person, but you don't hear that person, and you don't know what the conversation's about, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely so. Yeah, she does a great job, and, you know, we also have the kind of side characters of our paranormal investigators and stuff that we got in here, too. The first crew is a group of 3 who are all very cool. It seems like they definitely are in over their heads.
Yeah, I love how they're right outside the door, Carol Ann's door, and I just love the guy is telling Stephen, Craig T. Nelson, he's telling him that he has this video of a toy truck moving across the floor over 7 hours, and I love how Craig T. Nelson plays it, where he's just listening to it patiently, and he's opens the door, and everything in the fucking room is just like flying, a tornado, and they're all just like, what? And then the lady, and they cut to the lady with her teacup just shaking, like,
and you can't really quite tell if these are scam artists,
right,
or if they are people that legitimately believe in this spiritual realm, but have just never seen anything on this magnitude.
Yeah, they sort of prove themselves by sticking around that night, but
they're also skeptics.
They are.
They're like, this could be signals coming from within the house,
right? Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, and I mean that is probably one of the elements of ghost hunting that's the most annoying to them. I gotta prove to people it's true.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to tell people I kind of felt a cold spot here. And listen to this. When you play it backwards, doesn't that sound like Kill Daddy? I guess it does.
Maybe it could.
That's
totally. That's it.
That's probably Kill Daddy.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. But man, even the lady that's kind of the head of the group is just so wonderfully warm and charming, and just seems like somebody that you knew. She seems like, honestly, she kind of reminds me of like my first grade teacher.
Yeah, she had first grade teacher vibes, didn't she?
Absolutely so. Where like she, again, is just a normal looking older lady. Like she's from that era of where you could be an actor and have teeth that weren't perfectly straight and as like shiny as pearls and shit. Like she looked like a normal person. You know what I mean?
And she has one thing that like really kind of disgusts me when I'm watching a show of people that all have bright white teeth that are all the same exact length.
Yeah, I know.
And all straight. It's like, you've manipulated your skeleton to do that. Like
you made your bones do it.
And white is not the color your teeth should be.
If you ever eaten, no. I'm at odds because, like, really, like, ultimately, I would love to get my teeth like straightened out and stuff one day because my teeth are really crooked. But it's like, but I don't want to look like that.
Yeah, I don't want to look fake.
No.
Yeah.
Like, keep a little, but make it straighter.
I'll keep them all bunched up. I have a little bunching here.
Yeah,
little George Clooney bunching.
You could live. Yeah, that's very livable.
Yeah,
very.
I'm
livable.
never gonna have a problem with that.
But yeah, I love the group of investigators, and of course they bring in the heavy artillery later on with old Zelda Rubinstein.
Yeah, she doesn't show up until an hour 14 in the movie.
An hour 14, but she's so fucking
the part
memorable.
Everybody remembers about Poltergeist because she comes on the screen and it's just like, wham! I'm in charge. Everybody's behind her in almost every shot. Like, every shot is her closest to the camera.
Yeah.
She's the one in charge. She's the one who knows what she's doing. And
again,
she does,
those are Spielberg things, too. Like, knowing where to, like, frame people and how to angle them to really show off their height and perspective and stuff. That's one of those things that he's so fantastic at, that he was kind of pulling the strings on some of those shots. Actually,
in some of those shots, like, because of forced perspective and stuff, she's as tall as them.
Oh, wow. Really?
So, like, the shots are constantly reminding you, like, yeah, she's small, but she's not small. Like, she's in charge. She's got all the fucking power in this situation. And she talks like that and she acts like that. And apparently that's just Zelda Rubinstein, who became an actress at 45.
That is a late in her life career change right there.
I would encourage that, by the way. Anybody out there who thinks you're too old to go into acting, watch a movie. Pay attention to how many older people are in movies. Movies aren't about beautiful people. Bad movies are about beautiful people. Good movies have all sorts of ages, looks, and faces. You could, at 45, go into acting and possibly make it.
All are welcome. All are welcome. Yeah, you're right. And I love, too, whenever she, like, makes her appearance on screen, and, like, initially Craig T. Nelson is, like, really skeptical about her, and he's, like, trying to communicate with her telepathically. Right. That's a good, like, little humor beat.
Yeah.
You know? Where he tries to reach out with his mind, and she's like, I'm addressing the living.
Uh-huh.
And she says something about it, like, I don't know, she makes some response that she heard him or whatever. It's just so, like, subtly clever, but also kind of like demonstrating that, like you said, she's in charge.
Yeah, she's in charge. Yeah, nobody's getting one over on her.
And she's got those grandma weird ass faded shades that we've talked about recently.
I think she's somewhat based off of the wife in the couple from The Conjuring. I can't remember their names, but they were the two real life ghost hunters or whatever, and exorcists. I think she's somewhat based off her, though that lady wasn't particularly short, but she did dress like that. Yeah.
Where the fuck is she from? What is that accent?
I don't know if that's how Zelda Rubinstein always sounds, and she's from Pittsburgh.
Really?
I wouldn't expect that to be a Pittsburgh accent.
There's times where it sounds kind of
She never
southern.
says yins?
No, or wooder.
Or wooder.
Yeah.
Wooder.
Like, there's times that she sounds really southern, but I don't know what part of the South.
Yeah. That would be a tough. I mean, maybe Pittsburgh is more southern than we think. Let's go.
Might be that way. Yeah, let's go find
Pittsburghers, out. We're coming to your town. Get me a salad with fries, ready to go.
And of course, we've talked before about Craig T. Nelson's boss.
We have on Return of the Living Dead. Yeah. He's so good, James Carn.
I love that guy.
Mr. Teague. In this, his character is. I don't know that he's entirely shown as despicable at first, but we know that you can kind of tell he's a little sleazy when he first comes on screen. He's talking fast.
Yeah.
But then we find out later that he's been moving the gravestones of these graveyards and building houses over dead bodies. So he's a bit of an asshole.
I found that line where he says, like, oh, we're not talking ancient tribal burial grounds, just normal people. I found that to be interesting.
Right. So it's interesting that he sets up the normal people versus Native American burial ground, because this site originally is this peaceful place where they've decided to bury their dead, which is normally a place, for reflection and thought about your own spirituality and your own life, etc.
Mortality and
your
so
mortality,
on. Yeah.
And what they've done is come and covered it up with these ugly houses that all look the same. And just
kind of built this purgatory on top of it.
Yeah, exactly, a purgatory, because it's neither a joyous place to be nor a terrible place to be. It's just this in-between ground where you just are. And it's fine. I mean, I'm sure you feel somewhat accomplished when you come home. He's the biggest salesman at the realty place. 42% of all their sales. Like, he's working his ass off. He comes home to his house, gets to relax. But I mean, we see, as we talked about with the remote controls, like, we see that they're so close to each other that, like, they're actually interfering with each other's American dream.
Yeah.
Like, their American dream has become this very clearly defined, boxed in sort of thing that can't be much different than anyone else's. Like, even when they're talking, he's trying to sell the house to that couple when they're in the house, and basically the wife is saying,
oh yeah, it's like phase 4 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
the wife is saying, she says, like, these look a bit lived in or whatever, and then the husband's like, they all look the same to me.
Yeah. And that's even preceded by the previous shot, which is showing our main family's kitchen.
Yeah.
And then it immediately kind of fades into Craig T. Nelson showing the house, and
which looks the exact same.
It looks identical.
Yeah. And so everybody's American dream is packaged into this real tight little area. All looks the same. and you get to choose what you do on the inside.
Well, and that's ultimately showing you too that like everybody's, concept of the American dream isn't your own dream. It's just what's being sold to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's this prepackaged thing that we are selling as here's what you need in life.
Right. And so the scene where the jewelry falls from the ceiling is a good reminder of that, because I'm assuming that jewelry is coming from the dead outside, like it's being transferred outside through that portal.
Okay, I'm
assuming
that nexus or whatever,
which is just a reminder, like you can't take it with you. Like even if you take it into the grave with you, it's not with you. You are dead.
Yeah, that's something I had in my notes too, that I kind of noticed this time around, is that like even at the end of the movie, whenever all the coffins are shooting up out of the ground, it shows you that they're wearing jewels and pearls and pocket watches and stuff like this. And after they died, guess what happened? They just built more shit on top of it.
Right. And whenever those houses are no longer desirable, they'll come in and bulldoze them, or they'll just abandon the entire area, and it will become a house graveyard. I think where every house is a representative tombstone of a dream.
I think it's pretty interesting that Steven Spielberg, caught on to this early on, because at this point it's not like suburbs were ultra common all over the country or anything like this.
It was just in highly condensed areas with a lot, like California, Southern California. You're going to have a lot of people living there, but it's more spread out than, say, New York City. So how do you efficiently build that? Suburbs.
Yeah, build them right next door to each other, right on top of each other. Everybody's got the same house. Everybody's got the same lawn.
Right.
Everybody's got the same everything.
Yeah, and so that actually spread, because my uncle was a contractor, and he refused that. He refused the model of every house looks the same, and he would try
spec
to
houses.
Yeah, he would try to design his houses to go with the lot, like trying to make it fit well with the lot. He hated this idea. What kind of happened with this is that instead of designing your own house, you could just buy the blueprints for this house and then reproduce it. So it became cheaper to build these neighborhoods, and cheaper is always better when trying to make money, right? Doesn't matter that the product you're going to sell is going to end up being inferior and just plain and dull.
Yeah. Well, prefab is always just the quickest way to go for massive, cheap, reproducible sales.
Yeah, no thought put into it, just do it.
Yeah, exactly. I like all these little Starbucks kiosks and stuff like that. Like whatever, it's ready-made, it's prefab.
There it is.
Just stick it into place. It's done. Yeah, I think that definitely the message of consumerism and how it was invading American families and being sold as a positive thing during this time period is very, very heavily pervasive through this movie. And one thing you can't help but notice is just how many name brand articles, licenses, products, everything are in this movie. Like typically whenever you watch flicks, it's like people are drinking soda out of a can labeled soda.
Right.
Or beer that's just marked beer.
Yeah.
There are so many name brands, and they make a point to show them to you.
I imagine it's early product placement. I mean, Steven Spielberg has always been... I think
it's so deliberate, though.
That's what I'm saying. He's always been ahead of the curve on that. I'm sure he sat down with people and said, hey, you want a Coke can in a Steven Spielberg movie?
I mean, the list of name brand things that I have laid out here, of just stuff that I just noticed kind of casually watching the movie, are Lay's potato chips, Star Wars,
tons of Star Wars,
which
is actually accurate, because my brother had all the Star Wars stuff in the world.
That shit was the bomb.
Yeah,
the Rams, Toys R Us, Tweety Bird, Captain America. That make a big point.
And the Incredible Hulk.
Yes, and the Incredible Hulk. The Dodgers, Alien, Sesame Street, Clue, Rubik's Cube. They mentioned Town and Country, Pizza Hut, Budweiser, Cheetos, Ritz Crackers, Clorox. Like, there's so many name brand things that are shown on screen.
Okay, it could be product placement, but it's probably more of an attempt to capture what it's really like to be in a suburban family's home.
Yeah.
It's just, you're going to see those products.
Yeah, I think so.
One product, though, that you mentioned we should talk about in particular, Pizza Hut.
Led to some great edits in the movie.
So there's an edit in this movie that is inexcusable and would make any other movie unwatchable.
It is horrifically piss poor.
It's the scene where there's Joe Beth Williams is showing to Craig T. Nelson that the chair slides in the kitchen and then the little girl slides.
Yeah, and she's like, we're going to get pizza for dinner. Mom didn't cook.
Right, and the little girl's saying you're going to get Pizza Hut. So they're in the middle of this conversation about the stuff sliding, and then suddenly they're in front of their neighbor's door, knocking on the door.
I mean, it cuts mid-sentence. It was like a record fucking skipped.
And the story has been that the line that we do know the line was that he said, I hate Pizza Hut. But there was also other stuff said. They apparently couldn't find any way to cut around it or to reshoot to make it make sense.
ADR that shit.
Just anything.
Yeah, I mean, do a shot that's the back of his head and ADR, I'm not in the mood for pizza.
So,
you know?
People have speculated that Pizza Hut demanded they take it out of the movie. And here's the thing that makes me question everyone's speculation here. Pizza Hut didn't see the movie.
Well, what you don't know is in this time period, every movie had to be screened by Big Pizza.
Right, before it could go out.
Yeah, to see if it met the Pizza Regulation Board's requirements of what needed to be shown in movies.
So I would really like to know what happened, because definitely Pizza Hut didn't see the movie. That means most likely there's no way that Tobe Hooper or anybody else involved with this would have just been like, all right, we'll just chop that. It had to have been an executive too late in the game said, take out those frames and splice it.
Yeah, you cannot tell me that a filmmaker like Steven Spielberg and his editor that he was working with and Tobe Hooper and everybody would just be like, I don't know, just fucking cut it mid-sentence and go to this next thing. Who cares? You can't tell me they would.
I thought that the version of the movie I was watching was wrong when that happened because I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
It feels like whenever you used to watch something on like a dirty DVD or Blu-ray and it would just like
forward suddenly.
That's exactly what it felt like. Actually, I remember the first time that I watched this, that's what I thought was going on because I have it on DVD.
Skipped, yeah.
It was like, oh, it skipped. So you rewind back and it's like, no, that's just in the movie.
That is it. Yeah.
It's
crazy.
Bad.
It's
bad,
real
bad.
And that's weird for a movie that has very few flaws, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man.
It's just such a glaring one, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the way that this movie is about consumerism infiltrating the American family, I think is very clearly stated whenever the movie starts with the national anthem, which is what used to air on TV as the TV stations were closing down.
Right. I remember, I think it was like 3 a.m. is when that would happen.
Yeah.
I remember
TV stations used to shut down, y'all.
Yeah, for a few hours. They'd just be like, we'll just not have anything on.
Yeah. Yeah. Before every channel became 24-hour programming.
It must have sucked back in the day to be on cocaine if you didn't have cable.
What is there to do? More cocaine, I guess.
Let's just watch that fuzz on the channel.
Watch the static. But it starts with that, and then the fact that the movie ends with them kicking the TV out of the hotel room.
Right.
I think it's kind of showing us that this is where all of these...
it's the portal.
It's the portal. Yeah, it's the nexus.
It's the portal for consumerism. It's the portal for all that they're seeking after.
Yeah. And it's kind of showing you, too, that it's like, if you're watching this movie and you're getting so terrified about the idea of ghosts and other forces entering your home, why aren't you scared about things like consumerism and violence and everything else that TV can spread also entering your home? Why is that not scary to you? I think it's something this movie is trying to put out. I mean, there's that one point where Carol Ann is sitting there in front of the TV just watching static, and her mom's like, get away from that. You're going to burn your eyes out or whatever. And she's like, here, put something on. She puts on like war footage right in front of her kid. Like she does, they don't care what the kids are watching on TV whatsoever.
Which was true in the 80s. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, parents had no idea until they all got pissed off about The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly right. I remember that being a huge
saying
thing.
Hell
in a cartoon?
No.
It's going to confuse the children.
Someone please think of the children. Was a character from The Simpsons.
Oh, there you go. Yep. But you know, one thing in this movie that really struck me this time, dude, that I wanted to talk to you about and see if I'm really just like pulling at dumb threads here or if it's something that's here. there's a lot of strange dualities.
Okay.
Throughout this movie.
All right.
Where almost anything that could be perceived as being scary in this movie has another side of it that is maybe presented in a different way that is completely normal and okay. Okay, so like for example, like I said just a second ago, the TV is introducing all these new forces and things into your house, but spiritual forces, oh no, that's fucking scary and stuff, right?
Right.
But there's other things that I caught this time that are very blatantly shown. Okay, so early on in the movie, whenever Robbie is there in his bedroom and he's getting all freaked out about the tree and stuff, right? He goes into his parents' room, he brings his dad back, he's telling about how he's scared of the tree. The dad is like, that tree's been here longer than any of us, it knows everything about us. And he's doing it in this very like loving, like, no, it's safe, it's good kind of way. Later on, I think it's Zelda is telling him about how the beast knows everything about him and knows everything that's going through the heads and stuff. Like the same lines, but it's scary in that context.
Right.
But it wasn't scary when Dad was talking about this tree. Right? There's other stuff too where, okay, and again, this is just one of those things that is a direct duality. Early on in the movie, that same scene actually, when the parents are in there smoking pot and stuff.
Right.
And the mom is talking about how maybe Carol Ann was sleepwalking. And she's like, I had this experience where I sleptwalked when I was a kid. I wound up in the back of another guy's car. They had me checked for hickeys. She specifically says hickeys.
Yeah.
She says back of a car and hickeys.
Right.
Also, we find out that she was like 15, maybe 16 when she had their first kid.
Right.
Like, that's one of those things that's kind of like mentioned whenever the paranormal people are talking with Craig T. Nelson. They're like, how old's your wife? And he's like, oh, she's 31, 32. How old's your daughter? 16. You do the math right there, and you're like, okay, so she was 15 or 16 when she had this kid. Now, whenever the mom is telling the story about waking up in the back of this guy's car and being checked for hickeys, she's like just laughing it up, and we as viewers are just kind of laughing it up too.
Yeah.
Later on in the movie, though, whenever we see the daughter get out of the car...
Yeah.
Again,
like
gets out of the back of a car.
Yeah.
She's got hickeys all over. It's not very funny then, is it?
No. It's not.
It's this
There's
direct...
no laugh to it. Yeah.
No, exactly. But it's funny when the adults look back and talk about it. You know? There's this huge emphasis in this movie about remote-controlled objects moving on their own.
Yeah, there is.
And how that's not scary, but when it's poltergeist activity, it's terrifying. Like, one of the first things in the fucking movie is we have that adult on the bike.
Case of beer on a bike. Which,
again, another duality right up front.
Yeah.
At first, whenever it's showing the wide shots of the suburbs and stuff like that, it's showing kids on bikes. And then the next thing you get is a grown-up on a bike. And suddenly that's funny to us.
Yeah.
Kids on bikes, normal. Adult on a bike, funny.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, he gets knocked off his bike by these kids playing with remote-control cars. Okay? The TV in the next scene is changing, although as if automatically.
Right.
Of course, it's just a remote war thing going on. Later on in Carol Ann's room, there's also that little robot that's walking on its own that does like the little laugh. But then later on, whenever there's stuff that's moving on its own, like the stuff flying through the room or the kid getting scooted across the floor, that's scary then.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you seeing what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's one of those things.
He's introducing all these early ideas in innocent ways so that he can pervert them.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Because even earlier on in the movie, whenever we have Tweety die, right? They bury the bird in the cigar box, which is preceded by that adorable scene.
Yeah.
Carol Ann is like, for when he's sleepy.
He's lonely.
Oh my God. Just adorable. And so we've got them burying the thing. The dog immediately starts trying to dig it up. Robbie's up in the tree like, can we dig it up? We'll look at the bones later.
Yeah.
Later on, it shows the construction crew digging up for the pool, and it digs up the cigar box.
And the bones.
Yeah.
They're bones, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. He says, well, can we see the bones later?
Yeah.
Later, we do see the bones.
Later we do see the bones.
But not of that from all sorts of dead folk.
Yeah. But it's just showing us, like, whenever we see the dog... trying to unbury this bird or even the bulldozer uncovering it, it just seems like, oh, just cute suburban funny stuff.
Yeah.
But then later on, when we find other things that were buried under the house, it gets terrifying. You're right. I think it's all about presenting an idea that seems innocent and then perverting it.
Yeah.
later.
Well, and that's, again, that goes back to what we were talking about at the American Dream.
Yeah.
The opening of this subdivision is that wonderful, like, light music, and we're seeing all the happy
It doesn't
kids
sound like a horror movie soundtrack at all. No.
But then by the end, you just want to get the hell out of that subdivision.
Yeah.
It's the worst place in the world to be.
Yeah. And also, too, did you notice that early on the TV, they're watching some movie where it seems like it's maybe like two soldiers or something?
Yeah.
And one of them's like, he doesn't even know that he's dead?
Right. Yeah, I meant to look up, or I did look it up. I didn't write it down. But yeah, that in that movie, that is the idea, is that there's a character who's dead and he's being introduced into the afterlife.
Other than the football, everything they watch on TV is in black and white.
Oh, yeah.
Which seems to imply that everybody that they're watching on screen is dead.
Yeah. Huh.
Having that kind of ghost in your house isn't scary.
No.
Like, whenever you have the TV on and you're watching Casablanca, you're watching fucking
dead.
Ghosts in your house.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
They're not scary.
But it's not scary.
Yeah.
Right. I think that these are all things that maybe are subliminal psychological things that he did to kind of fuck with us. And I think it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. For sure. This definitely had a good screenplay to work off of.
Yeah.
And it all comes together really well in the end. I mean, other than my disdain of ghost
Subject
hunting
matter.
bullshit,
Yeah.
like, I still think it works, though, because of all the things we're talking about. All the actual messages to the film aren't about actual ghosts.
Yeah.
They're about specters, for sure. They're about the things that haunt us, the things that are always there, that always drive us and drive us away, which is, you could say capitalism, you could say conformity, normalcy, whatever it is, whatever that thing is that is always driving us away from it while we are also constantly drawn into it. That's what this movie is more about. It's not about real ghosts. It's not about a real poltergeist. And that's why I think it's interesting that the ghost hunters and the Zelda Rubinstein, they actually fail.
Yeah.
At this.
It's got that thing we talked about with The Exorcist, where it's like ultimately none of it worked.
Yeah, it didn't work.
No.
All they were able to do is find Carol Ann, but they didn't get rid of the poltergeist at all. And they couldn't possibly, it seems. It seems like nothing they would do could get rid of it, because it's a representation of all these things and that constant specter of normalcy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That specter of normalcy that you always want to try to be as normal as you can, but normal's such a slippery thing that while you're trying to be it, it's also haunting you.
Yeah.
And that's what this seems to indicate, is that while you're trying to be this suburban ideal, it's also haunting you, and it's also making you unhappy.
Yeah, I think so. And it's just a trap, ultimately.
Yeah.
You know, a big consumer trap.
Wow.
And of course, this is all told through some really fucking great practical special effects.
Yeah.
It was one of the first things that really impressed me about this movie when I ever watched it the first time, is that the special effects in it are pretty fucking dope. There's a few that aren't great, but there are some in here that are just so sick, man.
And there's some early CG that like the spectral stuff is cool, but like, say when they open up the bedroom and like the record that's spinning,
that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, you can tell that that's CG, and like, it's not even good CG because you can see through the record, but you shouldn't be able to.
Well, I think it's more like those things that they did even like Star Wars and stuff, where it's more of like film overlaid on top of film.
It's just overlaid, Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just early non-practical. Let's call it non-practical special effects. Non-in-camera special effects, you know? Yeah, some of those things didn't necessarily need to be there. He shows like the Hulk fly up on screen.
I bet they looked cool back then when you saw them. In like 82, I'm sure it looked awesome.
Yeah. I would have been okay if that was toned down. But there's some other really cool ones that really did impress me. Like one that kind of took me by surprise is the rotating room scene with the mom towards the end. Whenever the ghost is kind of going after this invisible force. Yeah. Which I got thinking about it, and this predates Elm Street.
Elm Street, by 2 years. So that had to have been a huge influence on Wes Craven.
Yeah. Like I think about Elm Street, and I think about that rotating room sequence where she's getting all shredded and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's so innovative. That's so amazing. Right. And then you realize, like, well, Poltergeist did it 2 years earlier. It wasn't as good. It wasn't as gruesome.
The room was too big, I think, was the problem for me.
Yeah, I know, right?
The room's a bit smaller in Nightmare on Elm Street, and that makes it, I don't know, it makes it seem more dangerous. It seems to be moving faster, whereas this one seems to be moving really slow.
Yeah, it's true. Nothing really quite seems like out of control.
Yeah.
And whenever she gets out, there's that huge, for some reason I just call it like the walker kind of demon thing. It's that big like stilt demon that makes a lion roar. That thing is fucking sick. It looks like they shot it maybe underwater because its hair has kind of that spectral like floaty thing that I really like. On it. Yeah. I like that effect a lot.
That's interesting. It's real interesting, like, because when we see that spectral stuff early in the movie, it's like a positive. It comes down the stairs, and
that's like one of my favorite effects right there. Yeah.
But that same spectral light is this demon later.
Yeah. So, dude, that scene whenever they all see that thing appear on the stairs, and it seems like it's maybe like an angel or something like that. It looks like it's just like made of light and this flowy garment stuff. But at the same time, you never see a face.
No.
Which I love. I love the fact that you never really clearly can tell what it is. You know it's humanoid, and it seems light and flowing, but that's about it. And then they watch on like the camera replay, and it's like there's a bunch of them coming down the stairs. Yeah. I love that effect. That is so cool to me. That's one of those ones that like has aged fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I also like too the scenes with the tree whenever it's like eating Robbie. I think those still look pretty dope because they're like surreal to me. It's not necessarily that it looks like, wow, it really looks like a tree is eating a kid. Yeah. It just has this like, what the fuck is going on here factor where suddenly there's this mouth in the tree and the tree's like all slimy and gnarled looking and it's sucking this kid up and this kid's screaming bloody murder.
And fucking Steven's little childhood up for sure.
Oh my God, dude. I've mentioned it before. Like I grew up with a tree that looked just like that outside of my window, dude.
It was, I mean, we talked about it on, I think, Evil Dead 2. We talked about like scary trees.
Yeah.
But it's like, trees can be very scary as a child, and this scene did not help me at all. Oh my God.
The way the branches like busting through the window was always one of those things I was so scared of as a kid, which would be more than a decade before I even saw this movie, thank God, or else that tree would have mortified me. But like this huge gnarled ugly old tree that was outside of my window as a kid, whenever there'd be big storms and stuff, the branches would like scrape up against the windows and do all kinds of terrifying shit. And there were so many moments that I remember thinking like it's gonna fucking bust in my window in the middle of the night, This movie does a really good job of, I think, playing up some of those childhood fears.
Robbie's fears in this movie were Steven Spielberg's fears as a kid. Clowns and a tree that was outside of his room.
See, that's the thing is like I remember having those toys as a kid that you had and you liked and maybe you played with and stuff, but in the middle of the night they'd scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like I've told you, my brother with that fucking Snuffleupagus toy that we had, he would just torment me with and stuff. Yeah. I remember having stuff like that where it's like I love it, but also I'm scared of it.
Childhood is crazy.
Yeah, being a kid's
really
weird.
Is.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. And the clown thing in this is very much a representation of that.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it might even be because, like, I remember every time going to people's houses, and it always seemed like there was that one toy they didn't exactly want.
Yeah, but they didn't get rid of either.
Yeah, because, like, their grandma gave it to them or whatever, and their mom said they have to keep it in their room.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And that's what that clown seemed like to me.
Yeah, no kid really wants to play with that.
Yeah, no kid wants that. They never do play with it. It sits in its own chair by itself.
Yeah, but if Grammy comes over and you don't have it out, it's going to hurt her feelings.
It's going to hurt her feelings that you don't want to play with her creepy fucking clown.
Oh, my God. That thing is terrible.
Yes, it is.
That thing is just awful. And, like, towards the end of the movie, its arms grow all fucking long and it's strangling the kid. Apparently the prop was like malfunctioning. And
it was actually strangling the kid,
him.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That's scary.
That had to be pretty fucking mortifying as a kid to do that. What do you think about like the face rip scene where the dude rips his face off?
That was really fun. That's just such an interesting idea of looking in the mirror and, you know, popping something or scratching something, but like
it's like a body horror element.
How that would become worse, and just get entirely into shredding your own face off.
It's like very Cronenberg.
Yes,
in the middle of this movie,
had a lot
right?
of Cronenberg to it. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about leading up to that scene, because dude is like staying up late, trying to do his paranormal thing, and is like, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm gonna go make a steak.
Yeah, that's odd.
He's going a little overboard on this Atkins thing, because he goes to the kitchen there and he gets.
I'm gonna go fire up the skillet.
Yeah,
make me a steak in the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly. Because people just normally have a steak that isn't, you know, pre-planned out for a meal,
right, in
their fridge. People just keep those purposeless
the way
steaks.
In the 80s.
Yeah, maybe.
Think about it. Maybe everybody just ate steak while smoking.
But dude, his food handling skills are subpar. He pulls that thing out of there, and I guess it was just sitting
in there
on the fridge.
As a steak.
Yeah, it wasn't wrapped up or on a plate or anything.
That's how steaks work.
Yeah. He picks up that steak barehanded, raw. Also picks up a chicken wing, starts eating it. He's just asking for foodborne illness immediately. Puts it on the counter, also not on a plate.
Yeah, that's gross.
This guy is just willy-nilly with his raw meat handling.
He's probably going to eat it well done, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, that's true. I think his hallucinations were brought about by trichinosis. I don't think there's anything spiritual about that.
That guy he was fucked up. He was eating all sorts of crazy shit.
There's a deleted scene where he also was shitting his pants violently as all this stuff was going on.
With his face off. He's just staring in the mirror with no face, shit coming out of his butt.
Ultimate terror.
Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be funny.
Oh, man. I think they probably should have cut to the dummy head a little later. Like it's like
the shot's not great in that moment.
Yeah, it's like there's 4 phases of his facial deconstruction, and they cut to the dummy head at like 2.
Yeah,
when it's like soon. It should have gone from his face to his face with some cuts and blood,
right? Then
to the dummy with the skin falling off of it. You know?
Too much dummy.
Too much dummy. You just dummied it up. But still very cool and very shocking and strange. I love whenever the bodies and stuff shoot up at the end. Like, it looks like they really have some big propulsion and stuff behind them when the coffins are shooting up out of the ground.
That scene reminded me immediately of Phenomena.
Oh, yeah.
Phenomenon.
Dario
Argento.
Episode number 1.
Yeah, our first episode. I am assuming Dario Argento was going for that. He was just thinking like, we cut the rain, we add more light, and maggots.
Lots of the worms.
Just maggots everywhere.
Maggot pool.
Jump in there, man. Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's cool.
It's so fucking strange. And I really enjoyed, too, the effect that they did at the very end whenever the house is, like, imploding on itself. Did you read how they did that?
No.
Okay, this is fucking crazy. They spent a ton of money and made, like, a scale model of the house, right?
Okay.
They put this model of the house on this special table that had this like hole in the middle of it that was attached to this super strong vacuum. Okay? So there's like this vacuum suction table that this house was on. They filmed it with a camera that was filming at like 300 frames per second, right?
Oh.
They had several different effects guys stand around the house and blow it away with 12-gauge pump-action shotguns as the vacuum pulled the pieces of the house down.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
That's a cool... I mean, effects people
back then
are like MacGyver.
Amazing.
Like, they could just come up with anything.
How can we make this look like a house is imploding? I don't know. We make a model, put it on a vacuum table, and blow it away with shotguns while we film it in slow motion.
And now you just send it to the CGI guys, and they just... turn it into that, and it's not fun.
But that's still one of those effects that like you look at and you're like, how did they do that? It looks so fucking cool.
Does. It looks really cool. I didn't know any of that, so that was really cool to find out.
Pretty neat stuff in there, man. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Now let me ask you one thing about the pacing of this movie, because this movie does something that would become a definite horror trope, which is the kind of fake out ending. They get this house is clean. They get this rebirth scene where the mom and the baby come out and they're all covered in Jell-O and stuff and put in the tub. Everything seems good. They're gonna move, but they're still gonna sleep in the house, but they're gonna go to a hotel. Oh, that was unclear.
That was very unclear, and the husband had to leave for no reason at all.
For story. I have to leave for story.
Okay.
Anytime somebody says that to you, just know
something bad's gonna happen while they're gone.
Really bad things are gonna happen. Yeah. I think whenever I just leave people's houses, I'm just gonna start doing that now.
I have to leave for story.
For story purposes, I have to leave. I'm like, what is he talking about?
Hello, welcome. I am Gentleman. What?
What? So they're towards the end. Yeah, it seems like everything's okay. The mom's in the house. She's just getting rid of her rogue hair that she has. I would have left the rogue hair.
I would too.
I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
And that's when shit starts going south. And we get this last, maybe 20 minutes of the movie, which is when the real roller coaster begins.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes of the movie, but I think about 5 minutes are the closing credits.
Yeah.
So it's only about 15 minutes, but for me, it drags.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it.
For me, I hate the fake out. I wish the fake out had been this. Like, instead of all that happening, if right before they brought Zelda in, all that stuff had happened, it would have made way more sense. Because you would get why Steven would be leaving. You'd get why things would be escalating.
Yeah.
And then you bring in you bring in Zelda, and she cleans the house, and you have your triumphant ending. Instead, what you have here is, I mean, this is just for haunted house movie purposes. I don't want that. In this case, though, I get why Steven Spielberg is doing it. He's setting about this false idea that you can somehow cleanse the American dream, that you can somehow fix it and make it good again.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is, no, you got to destroy it.
Got it.
So in that case, I like it. I think it progresses the story. For a horror movie, I don't like it because I think it takes a lot of the tension out and then brings it back out of nowhere. But to fit the theme of the movie, it's good storytelling.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying right there. I love it. I love too that it shows like it gives the mom time to shine and be a badass.
Mm-hmm. She does get to be a badass. That's true.
You know, because it's like she doesn't have the spiritual advisors there. She doesn't have her big strong husband there.
Yeah.
It's just like mom kicking ass and saving her kids.
Yeah, that is really cool.
You know, and I like that about it too. She's not just like a tame, useless 80s housewife mom.
I feel like it kind of feels so chaotic too.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like all pandemonium and just all hell is breaking loose.
But again, it does bring in another element of, the theme of suburban hell, that her neighbors don't seem to care about any of her problems. Like, she's trying to convince the guy to come in, and his wife is like, no, don't go in there. Like, don't go with that lady.
Yeah. They're crazy.
And it's like, she needs help. It's crazy that that's how it is, even in this very intense moment. But he's showing us a very clear idea about suburbia. So it works. And I don't entirely hate it. And I guess it is necessary. So I'm not going to complain about it too much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you catch the subtle Shining reference in here?
Mm-mm.
So early in the movie, whenever the TV people, as Caroline calls them, come through the TV is on channel 237.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh.
And then at the very end of the movie, like the last hotel room that you see as the camera is like zooming out is room 217.
Okay.
Which are the rooms from the Shining book and movie. And of course, like, I want to say, was it the first or second Indiana Jones movie was being made at Pinewood Studios right next to the Shining? Whenever it would have been the
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been the first because that was 1980.
And Spielberg and Kubrick had a lot of...
Yeah, they were friends.
Yeah, exactly. And fans of each other's work and stuff. So that seems to be a bit of a cool, little homage that's sitting in there.
Yeah, and so that would be... the indication would be there that unlike The Shining where it goes through craziness to get to 237... we start at 237. The craziness is where we are.
Yeah.
And we're going to escape from that.
Imagine if The Shining started in room 237.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Really cool stuff,
That is
man.
cool.
Really, really neat. I love this movie, dude. It's one of those ones that just...
It's a classic.
It looks great. It sounds great. It's acted great. Great special effects. Again, I love the pacing. Like, there's a lot of moments in this movie that I think could have gotten long and boring. That scene where like Zelda is talking for probably a solid 5 or 6 minutes nonstop.
Is that the whisper scene?
Yes.
There are a lot of whisper scenes, but that one in particular.
Yeah, where she's talking about like there's a light and it's the source of all knowledge, and to us it's the beast and all that jazz. Like, it's such a weird beat in the movie, but also the soundtrack is selling it like fucking so hard. It's great. It really is. And also, the scene with the other paranormal lady, where she's like, it's the light of all lights and blah, blah, blah. Where she's like whispering. Yeah. I love the fact that entire thing is done in that whisper tone. Because it's nighttime and the kids are asleep and stuff. Right. It just makes it so much more like real and intimate.
I agree.
So good, man. I really enjoy this. And this is one of those old classic flicks that to me still really, really holds up.
It does.
And it still just stands on its own as a good movie. Not just a good horror movie, a good movie.
So, you know? Just before we rate it, are you excited for the next remake?
Fuck no. Are they already doing another remake?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Made by the Russo brothers, though. So
Which ones are they?
They made Captain America movies, Avengers, etc. They also worked on Community and Arrested Development.
Oh.
So I'm interested in it. I'm wondering what they're going to do, but I don't think this movie needs a remake.
Fuck no, man.
Even 38 years later or whatever, like, just let it be what it is. Yeah,
leave it be. It's fine as is, man. Yeah. Yeah, if they do a remake of this, it definitely needs to be something different. It needs to take a new spin on things.
And hopefully they do. I mean, maybe they will. Maybe it'll be one of those where we're like, hey, good remake to watch. Poltergeist, not 2015.
Poltergeist again. I mean, maybe they're going to make Haint.
I hope so. I hope it's going to be Haint.
It might be that.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe if they did a new millennial spin on this thing and it's like everybody living in tiny houses.
Oh. Wow. Or nobody being able to buy a house.
Yeah, it's just rentals. Everywhere rentals.
Right.
Nobody owns anything.
Damn.
Now, see, it's like that kind of spin.
Okay, that could work.
That could work, actually, because that's like a new form of hell where it's just like you just, for the rest of your life, you just pay me money. You work for me to own your house that you don't own.
I mean, honestly, when I saw that there was going to be another remake, I was like, but then when I saw Russo Brothers, I was like, they have not made anything bad.
I'll give it a chance.
I'll give it a shot.
Give it the old college try. You got any final thoughts about this thing? You want to rate this thing up, Steve?
Yeah, this movie's great. It's not scary to me, but it was scary as a kid, which is exactly what it's trying to capture, is the fears of childhood and how the certainties of adulthood are just fears wrapped in a nice little package that looks nice, but on the inside is chaos. That's a message that's never gonna go out of style, I don't think. It's just true. So Steven Spielberg, great. Whatever Tobe Hooper did to this, also great. The cast, awesome. I really think the story works it's a very, I would say, slim down version of what somebody might make, like the remake.
Yeah.
Like this, it keeps very tight on the family and tries to keep the story in the house. So we're not exposed to this whole huge world of things. We're really just dealing what's going on with this family. And that makes you care about them. And it makes you feel like you're, more invested. So it's a success at the end of the day. It's a classic. It's a 9.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. It does so many things right, and it does so many things to draw you in and make you connect with this family and relate to this family and relate with this movie, too. It doesn't have this grimy teal fucking filter on it to make everything look otherworldly and strange. Right. It doesn't have a big spooky horror movie ominous soundtrack.
Right.
It has this big magical, like, it sounds like it could be in like any other wonderful childhood Spielberg movie.
Right.
Which makes it all the more surprising. It gets your guard down,
It does.
whenever the bad stuff starts happening. Because you'd been kind of sold this image of like suburban magical life with white people in California. Just kidding, demons. Haints and boogers.
Oh no, Haints.
Boogers to the left, Haints to the right.
Stuck in the middle with you.
And the fact that the family is just so normal and relatable too just makes you get drawn in even more and give a shit about these characters. Yeah, so I think it's one of those things that let it be known that if you want to make people care about what's happening, give them something to relate to.
Yeah.
And that's probably a better start than just trying to play off some kind of weird, spooky, grimy horror movie trope scenario that doesn't really exist in real life, you know?
Yeah.
I love this movie. I'll watch it a million more times. I think I'm with you. I think it's a 9 out of 10. I can't really tell you what I would do to make it a 10 out of 10. I guess just some of the special effects and stuff and that one horrible edit.
That edit. Gosh. That's just like, I can't think of any other classic piece of film history where there's something so glaringly bad right in the middle of the movie that is so out of place too, because nothing else is bad. Like nothing else is gonna look too bad, especially if you saw it in 82 and not in high def. I'm sure you wouldn't even notice any problems with practical effect. Yeah, but that edit just you could even fix it now. I don't know why they haven't gone back and fixed it now. Just take some of the old footage, do some ADR maybe. Craig T. Nelson's still around.
I mean, they should just basically make it so instead of him saying, I don't like Pizza Hut, he just goes, I like Pizza Hut.
I like Pizza Hut.
Just cut out the don't.
Yeah.
Rebranding.
Boom.
I like Pizza Hut.
And then Pizza Hut can also have Poltergeist pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, that won't leave you for like a week. You eat it and you just get acid reflux. It just won't go away.
Yeah, it just haunts you forever.
And then Zelda Rubinstein shows up and boom.
You know, one thing I got to mention, Steve, before we start talking about next week's episode and stuff, is that today we woke up to the news that we lost a horror icon.
We did. Sid Haig.
Sid Haig, man. R.I.P.
I mentioned on the Devil's Rejects episode that he had gone into the hospital.
Yeah.
And just today he died. So
sucks, man.
Yeah, R.I.P. A legend. Really great actor. At least one awesome thing you got to know when you're on your deathbed is you at least got to finish the trilogy of House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, 3 from Hell, where like you're considered a legend and the last movie you do is part of a legendary franchise. Like, that's really cool that he got to do that at least.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad he got to close that chapter out. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about 3 from Hell as well.
I have too.
I've heard that it's pretty fucking good.
I've seen some negative reviews, but mostly positive.
Well, I definitely want to check it out. I think it's playing October 4th at Central Cinema here in Knoxville.
And then it comes out October 15th on streaming and DVD and Blu-ray.
Okay, so we'll do like a mini episode or something on that whenever we're able to see it. But yeah, R.I.P. Sid Haig, man. Definitely sucks. I heard he was an awesome fucking guy, too.
Yeah, I heard the same. Yeah, I've heard people really loved him.
Yep. Well, next week on the show, Steve, we're going to be doing something a little different, a little freaky.
It's a surprise.
It's a prize.
Yeah.
What? Now, stay tuned for details. Watch the skies.
Oh, what? Where?
What's that? Where is it? Who am I?
Is that Superman?
Now, Steve, I heard tell there's all kinds of new people throwing us their dollar papers on the Patreon. We got to say thanks.
Yep. Here are our September shout-outs. Our September shout-outs. Joe Marquez, thank you for donating to Dead and Lovely.
Marky Marquez represents.
Joe Marky Marquez.
That's his name.
Uh-huh. Luca Mokliak.
Oh, Luca Mokliak wants to sleep with the fishes.
Joshua R. Robertson.
Robertson.
There, Robertson.
Old double R.
Robert Layton. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert Layton. I can't think of anything funny to say about your name. You just got a cool name, I guess.
Robert gets laid a ton. Whoa.
Oh, now we're talking. Yeah.
And Zach Patton. Thank you, Zach.
I salute you, General Patton.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for your money.
Thanks, dude.
Now, Steve, in the meantime, where can they support us and follow us on the internet?
You can follow us at Dead Lovely Pod on Twitter and Instagram.
Sure enough.
Dead and Lovely Horror Movie Podcast group on Facebook. We have a Discord. If you want the link, it's on the Facebook, or you can email us. I'll send you the link. Email at deadandlovelypod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
also, most important, patreon.com/deadandlovely. Head on over there. There's a few tiers on there, but if you give $5 a month, the Make It a Pizza tier, you get to submit a movie title, and we've been doing it monthly. Probably we'll keep up that. I don't know why we wouldn't.
I enjoy it. Y'all pick good things. Y'all like things that are nice.
Yeah, you really do. A lot of great titles. So we go in, we randomly select a title. So far we've done, I think, like 6 different Patreon picks. So
they've been good ones too.
They have been. So go on over there, become a patron.
That's right. Now, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. We really appreciate you guys checking out the show. Be sure to rate and review on iTunes. Helps us out a lot, so please be sure to go and do that. And tune in next week for a very special surprise episode. Hopefully you guys are having yourselves a wonderful Halloween season. And hopefully by next week I'm not fucking moving and packing stuff into boxes and my arms don't feel like gummy worms.
Gotcha.
Oh, it sucks.
Don't go into the light.
Bye, y'all. So I stumbled across something earlier this week that's making my life a little bit more bearable. I'm going to run this by you here and see what you think about it. Maybe you adapt this into your lifestyle and it starts making just current state of affairs and stuff a little bit easier.
Okay.
So every time that you see a baby boomer, let's say saying something, sharing something, tweeting something, voting for something, supporting something,
just doing anything,
just basically doing anything that you find just absolutely abysmally dumb and baffling. All that you need to do to make sense of this and make peace in your heart is just remember, this is the generation of people that thought "Get Over It" by the Eagles was the most badass song of all time.
That is true.
It's
they
like,
love that song.
At that point, once that was a thing, we should have been like, they're doomed.
Yeah.
They're going to make dumb decisions the rest of their lives. I shouldn't have even acted surprised anymore.
No. Yeah, we should have all...
The writing was on the wall.
Yeah, when Trump won, we should have all been like, oh, yeah.
Well, of course, get over it. Yeah. If he would have come out...
Don Henley's Get Over It.
Could you imagine if after they announced the presidency, he comes out to make the speech and it's Get Over It? All the baby boomers would have just like came in their jeans immediately.
Totally would,
my God, and they're playing Get Over It.
I bet that's coming up. If he gets reelected, Get Over It.
Get Over It's definitely coming.
Yeah.